Arc.
Go.
Alright.
Sure.
Seems like a thing.
Go.
Play a Delta?
Yeah. Sammy? Good. The other one. Drop to K. Sure.
I totally do.
Waste again.
I thought you had like 8.
Good.
I had like 5. World's card too. Just second worst to Brandon. Second worst to
I'll fetch to 19.
This kid is right there. He's like 6. Not even
Sorry, I'm totally slacking. What are life points right now?
19. It's good. For you. He had
So
both
17?
C's and one fetch.
Hey, what's up, Jordan? How you doing, man?
A little under the weather.
Yeah, still. Unfortunately, I'm doing my best to keep away from everybody as much as I can, anyway.
Draw land, huh?
How you doing, man? You rewatch your matches yet?
I did.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Good.
Yeah.
Commentators were good.
Yeah. No, Bob. I mean, he won the Legacy Championship with the deck, so
Probably knows.
yeah. Yeah. No, he could definitely tell you a lot about the deck. He's pretty active too on the source forums too. He's big into the Legacy community.
Yeah.
I really like Bob a lot.
I think I probably met him before.
Yeah.
Liliana. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Is good. What's up, Phil? How you doing, man?
Good. How about you?
Doing all right. Little under the weather.
Yep. Land earlier. Good. Wing. Good.
So what's chat? I gotta even wait for chat to get here. Yeah. He said he left his deck at home. For him on time was like 6:01. 6:01. Because like for him to be on time was like 5. 6:01.
Golf is huge, isn't it?
He just chill. He has nothing to do. No one even so bad as creature. Like,
Oh, I missed a fetch.
sorry.
Sorry, Chad.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
Okay, so we go to 16.
Fast turn. Upkeep, port your underground.
Sure.
Yeah, big boy. Yep.
And here you go.
What's better than one? Tarmogoyf.
Having like,
Dude, you know what I lost to when I lost to Bug Delver last time on Aggro Loam? Quad Goyf.
Just like slow roll one a turn.
What was crazy was I had a Scavenging Ooze out, and I could actually keep him small enough so he couldn't attack. But I was just staring at Quad Goyf, waiting for him to like do stuff like play more spells than I can exile that turn. He won because like he eventually submerged my Scoots, and I lost all my counters on it.
Play that. We'll do my own lands. Go to my end step. Pass Port your underground.
I realized I was
Lock 8 then anyway.
Yep. I'll block there for green.
Okay,
Wisp.
okay, seems better.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm at 17.
I guess that's okay. That's all I got.
Comment. Sword. Good.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? I'm a little bit under the weather. You guys will have to apologize. I'm not going to talk a whole lot tonight. But hopefully Rudy Bza is coming in to do commentary, and likely Anuurag as well. So hopefully we'll have a good cast for tonight. Doing swell.
And I will block the void, give it plug green. Yep. So 15.
What's Mauler at? What are life points right now?
4. Play Athaya. Go. I think we cascade into Abrupt Decay.
What's up, Truckus?
Yeah. So you were. The value was good there. Yeah, I guess I had enough to
Now, did you block with the mom and then do the?
Yeah.
Okay. Rudy's not here yet.
Was that a question on the stream?
Oh no, I was just curious because I wasn't sure if I would actually have done that or not, or just kept it in case he had Abrupt Decay.
But I had a thing out. I had
You had your thing out?
no,
Just
he
out
had
on the
Maelstrom
table?
pulsed my sword already, so he was tapped out.
Oh, okay.
And the other time,
if he's tapped out.
the other
then-
time he had 2 mana, and I had a Wingmare out, so he needed 3 when I used Mom.
Minute for what's going on, guys? You guys watching the AGDQ stream? It pains me that I had to stop watching it to do this. I was in my blanket, wrapped up all day today, just watching the speedruns. Driving my girlfriend nuts.
On deck. So have you seen that Humans Nullrod vintage list?
No, but that sounds awesome.
Well, it was good because you used to run 3 Chalice, and now that Chalice is restricted, do you think? I mean, it was kind of like a Hate Bears list, but it was more of a Knight of the Reliquary, just
I
beast
see.
and because Knight, the guy was like, oh, Knight does all these cool things.
So the problem I have with hate bears and vintage is it's very, very draw dependent.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you guys playing in vintage? Anyone in chat play vintage?
Oh my god.
Yeah, VSL is gonna be cool.
Sure.
You be touching my Pokemon again.
Yo, you got a Deoxys, what you know? Is that Deoxys? Yeah, we were playing.
As soon as I get my Pokemon, he's
Isn't it nice not having to worry about days?
Well, I mean, you see Tarpit.
Yeah.
I don't think Bug runs it.
No, no, they do not. It's really bad to cascade into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get energy,
You can force it. That's fine with me. Mom, you need to. Yep.
yeah, baby.
Rich Shea's Sylvan Mentorless. Yeah, Rich Shea and Brian Kelly both worked on that deck. It's really, really hot.
Yeah,
We always used to joke that Brian Kelly's his own metagame,
I have him at home.
and that deck is another testament to it.
Go.
Well, if you do that, you don't get no special energy. Literally, at all.
I don't think this was the game for you to draw your wastelands.
Yeah. We'll give awesome. That's predominantly most vintages played proxied, so there's no shame in that at all.
Yeah.
Put focus sash on best
No, get the hell out of here.
Yeah,
I'm getting a Japanese.
I mean, again, there's no shame in it being proxied. I played proxied for years.
because you're not Tito, that's why.
Sure. Good.
Why?
I like playing vintage in cardboard form because there's some combos. There's,
I'll get there.
there's some combos that actually just don't work online, like a lot of stuff that Brian Kelly plays, like Bomberman combos, which they're really, really good in vintage. If you guys haven't seen that before, Zorak Salvager plus Lion's Eye Diamond or Lotus Petal, or I'm sorry, Black Lotus, Infinite Mana. Brian Kelly won vintage champs with a list like that on.
Yep.
Yeah, Brian Kelly won vintage champs with a list like that.
Right.
That was Notha Druid's deck too.
You're working a swing. Ugh. Alright, let's see. What can we do here to get out of this? Off of this here.
Remember when I had that bill?
One card left.
Yeah, I'll be at Eternal Weekend and Eternal Extravaganza. I'm working with the TOs right now to see if we're gonna to see if I can help them at all with the stream. Otherwise, I will 100% be playing in everything. Those are my favorite events to play in.
Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I thought he played that deck. I saw the Verbeek case. I'm too busy with HDU.
Nice. Awkward.
Wait, how did
Look at that.
Okay.
you draw whatever you want?
Pass turn.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't want to waste you.
Okay.
Yeah, matters. I guess. I don't know. Maybe not.
What's that? Funzies?
Sure.
Green Sun Zenith in a deck with Thalia. That's interesting.
Antique. Such
Yeah.
a numbo, but it's
Okay.
a one of. And normally, if I have it in my opener, I go get a mana dude. I go get
Dried Arbor.
and then shuffles back in.
That
I can go
seems-
get my other Teague, so it's like a second copy of Teague and my third copy of Pride Mage.
Right.
Sure.
And I guess crash it.
Yeah, I know that field, Gibson.
So I take 3, 4,
Oh, that's right.
15.
You might want to.
It's not helping the hair deck. Beats. Pour down, flank. That doesn't help.
Oh, just wait steps.
That helps kind of.
Wait to see if we get some vintage players in here. Then we'll have some money on the table.
All right, I'm gonna fetch. And
We have a couple
Grixis.
people that refuse to play with proxies and vintage.
I'm gonna get a Pride Mage. Yeah. Best turn.
Also, props to Mauler for using unglued lands.
I understand now.
Those are some of my faves.
I'll double block one of the goys.
Yeah, there's a new format that's gotten really popular. That is, I can't remember what it's called, where you just play with cards from like
Can I wait till he
94.
orders blockers before I give protection?
Yeah, priority is. Oh wait, what's so you're
I'm double
attacking?
blocking.
So
I wanna
active
know which
player,
one is the-
active player has priority first.
Right.
So whenever I come to this situation, I ask my opponent if he has any effects or if he's passing a priority.
Right. But I want to know. Doesn't he have to pick out he assigns the damage, and then I can get protection, right? Can't he decide which one is the lead blocker? Or?
No, because once damage is assigned, it's dealt. You have to give protection from things before combat damage is assigned, if you're trying to save something. I believe that is the case. Phil could probably clarify it. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Good seeing you out here today, man. I'm a little. I'd give you a big old hug if I wasn't sounding so poopy. What's up, dude?
Well, no, let's see. No, I did this then. Then I'll block.
Old School's the name of the format. Yeah, that's what's up. I know some people that play that like hardcore. It's actually a fun fact. It's driving up the cost of some of those old cards. They're now becoming staples,
I'll give mom protection.
and a lot of them are on the reserve list. The ones that are skyrocketing right now. So how much did you take? 4? Did you take damage that turn?
No, I block both.
Oh, okay.
Whatever.
So fun fact, you guys, we got a MTG bot working in chat now. So if you ever want to pull up a card, you can type in !help. Excuse me, my voice cracked there a little bit. That'll show you all the commands you can use with MTG bot. It'll pull up card text, oracle text, flavor text. You can link it to magiccards.info. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it.
Where's the going? Okay.
Yeah, Truckus, we I was leaning on the table there a little bit. What did I miss? Did something happen?
He's at 9. I'm at 14.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, Truckus. The rig that we're using to hold the camera is actually sitting on the table. So anytime the table gets kicked, shifted on, leaned on while someone's shuffling, whatever, it shakes the table. That was actually me leaning on the table there. I'll be more mindful. We have a
Summoning Sigma will block the Goyf and no blocks on the other one for green. 2, 12. End of turn. Oops. End of turn, I'll sack draw. Draw. Beats trigger.
This is the sturdy stables in the house. Truckus, unfortunately. Yeah, Truckus. We've got a boom mic stand coming in the mail. It should be coming in Wednesday. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in Alexandria tomorrow by the time it already comes in. So tomorrow's stream is likely going to be just as shaky. Actually, they're curious. We play on a really big playmat that actually fixes the shake issue.
Welcome to the party. Swing true. Flicker Wisp.
And yeah, the idea there is
Pride Mage.
if you have a tripod mount, it'll actually cut down because it's not actually touching the table, so the table shaking isn't affected by it.
Swing trigger. Take 4.
Yeah, cube's kind of tough to draft in my opinion because every pick counts, kind of. That's a really good test of skill is cube drafting.
Am I not running Jitte? Where's my Jitte? Oh, there it is. I don't want Jitte anyway. And I'll play Vile just because. Good.
What's up, man? I'm a little under the weather, otherwise I'd
Toxic.
give
Toxic
you
doesn't help.
some rock or something.
Playing around that.
So you've been doing AGDQ?
Yeah, man, I've basically just had AGQ like on like nonstop.
Do you watch the Disney walk?
Oh yeah. I watched both forms of singing. I was equally impressed. What was the guy's name? The Mexican runner? He did.
Yeah, my hand was 4 lanes.
Yeah.
So
I really like that guy. That guy was
and
hilarious.
then I was like, wow, I could play this game too.
Yeah,
And
he
I
was
could
hilarious
make sure we
intentionally
both have
and
no lands, but
unintentionally.
I guess you a land heavy hand too, and then
Yeah. See, I'm actually not a big Kingdom Hearts fan personally. I'm probably gonna get crucified for saying it on stream, but
against D&T, it's probably
I've played 2 of them, and I personally, I'm not into Disney. Like, I don't really enjoy like fighting with Donald Duck and Goofy. Like, I can't really get excited about that.
Did you catch the Metroid runs?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was pretty cool. Battle Block Theater was cool.
Block Theater was
Yeah, that was awesome. There were man, there's already been a ton of really good runs
I
today.
was really disappointed in those.
Really?
Because all those runners are so good.
I still thought they were all right. I mean, yeah, they hit some like they totally choked at the end there, but they choked at the end. But otherwise, like I thought it was pretty great.
Because they did it last or for the summer games, it was really good.
Well, the 120 star run's just starting to get popular, like as of last year. And I think it's a great run. I actually like that's my go-to run that I watch.
I used to still watch Grixis.
Yep.
And like you can tell
Yeah, she's cool.
Once he tilts, the dude tilts like full.
Yeah, some people just get shaken by that, and having like 150,000 people watching you probably doesn't help much. I'm still logged into Facebook.
19.
What are life points? Sorry guys, I'm like totally.
19.
Are we pre-board still? Or pre-board still?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess we could board it.
Philip J. Frylock, thanks for the follow, friend. No, Minifer, this is not the first round. These are just warm-ups. First round doesn't start till like 6:30.
Touch. 18.
And I never like forcing things in drafts. Man, every time I try, it does not end well. I usually just get good. I actually really, really like drafting.
That seems bad.
Which is funny because I'm not a fan of sealed at all.
Revoker. It doesn't resolve, sir. Liliana. Swords of Death.
Oh, no balls.
Good.
No balls. You could have totally named a second Deathrite Shaman and then killed it after it ticks it up.
Yeah. Because I really want to discard this card. Maybe my best card.
Shouldn't have said anything. Sorry.
Of course it's a land. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Beats on Lily. That way if I flicker wisp I can get something back. Good. Port you on the ground. Sure, you brainstorm all you want, sir. Do that. Do that.
What are the life points?
That's
must have hit.
18 in there? Go. Tap you down. Activate bomb. Stoneforge.
Okay.
Sword of beats and stuff. How many cards you got? You got a lot of cards. Let me get this one. I'm just gonna try and close this game out. Let's stick this on a Revoker. Yeah. I'm gonna draw a land too, watch. Got me to a land! Land! Oh yeah. Look at that, off the top out.
Skill game.
Put this in. Equip this. Beats.
Is that sort of War and Peace?
Yeah, 2, 4, and then you take. What you got? 6. So you take 10, and I gain 6. Yeah. Go.
No, you gain cards equal number of cards in your hand.
Oh, my hand?
Yes.
Oh, well, never mind.
So you gain 0.
Okay. I don't
You get
anything.
nothing.
I get nothing. That's fine. Gave you a turn. Yeah. Yeah. The Thoughtseize feel bads.
Here you go.
I go.
It's like throwing back away or something.
What
Yeah. we
is
go
going on,
to the
Anuurag?
sword.
How you doing, man?
that. I do that.
Yeah, I just noticed it's. I'm not pulling the audio in on my stream here. Give me 1 second.
Get that. Put it in. Equip it. Swings. Yeah. Why weren't you casting? Because I was tapping you down. Yeah.
It's like I hit a brainstorm and I saw just like Shardless going. I was like, that's sweet. That's what I need right now.
Yeah. Always get the blue sword. What am I doing? Always get the sword that actually does something. Sorry.
Hey, what's going on, Scott?
Does that work with Cascade?
Except for when he casts Shardless Agent. That's an artifact spell.
So he can't cast the thing that he flips. Right?
No, he can because Shardless Agent is an artifact spell.
Yeah, Shardless Agent is already cast.
Yeah.
And it's also an artifact.
I'm sorry, Anuurag. I missed what you said.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Rudy's joining in. He's gonna message me as soon as he's free. I'm currently I'm trying to figure out how to pull your audio, or I'm trying to figure out why your audio isn't getting pulled into the stream.
Let's see what's bad. Mr. Teague is bad. I don't think any of my green sun pack here.
And Minifer in chat says hi. Oh wait, I think I've got a hotkey set for muting the... Shoot, let me check that. Mute, unmute, desktop, alt. There. Can you give me a quick sound check, Anuurag?
Hey, what's up?
All right, looks good. Turn my gain up here a little bit.
So it's working now?
Yeah, it should be. I gotta equalize the volumes a little bit. You're like probably like 20% louder than me right now. Test, 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 test. I think I'm using the right audio device. Okay, yeah. Sorry for the clicks there. Making sure I'm on the right mic.
What's up?
What's that?
Maybe the board will help. Probably just draw like 4 lines.
Those are good.
There we go.
All right. Did you guys go to boards? Where are you guys?
Yeah, we went.
Okay.
It's part of the habit, man. In autopilot.
By the way, Kory, I don't have any video feedback yet for you.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to not. I haven't shared the. I need to share this.
19 file. Good.
All right, it should be shared.
Oh, you done with
Yep.
updating life points here.
19, 18.
You're at 19?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, my best card.
Let me update the commentary box here.
18. Oh. Yeah. Good. Good.
Ooh, this is all jacked up.
Yeah.
Thanks for the follows. Sorry, I haven't been calling them out, you guys. Let darkness and rest in peace.
All the hate.
Wow.
Let the hate flow through you. Should have brought in my choke.
And what are life points right now?
I'm at 18. I think it's 18 all.
18 all. Kobe the cheese. Thanks for following, bro.
In response, activate file. Wow. Oh, yeah.
So for those that don't know, it didn't catch it before, I'm like severely under the weather. Not severely, but I'm pretty much like 80% under the weather. So I'm going to be missing a lot of things. I'm going to be trying my best for you guys.
It still triggers. It would still get the thing when it comes.
Affinity for mountains. I've seen you before in one of my other streams, I think. And I can't remember if I know you personally or
I guess all my
not.
pride mages are going back in. I go.
This is Kory, by the way.
Yeah, we'll leave it on 2. Oh. Ah. Go. Yeah.
Zero 3 0 U 3 U. Thanks for the follow.
Yeah.
What's going on, Ryan? Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that one.
I go.
So can you imagine if Predict was modern legal?
Yeah.
That card would just put the lantern control just over the
I
top.
don't mind that. Let's just
Oh,
blow
God.
everything. Please blow up the world, sir.
I mean, it's not like Lantern Control actually needs any more help now, right?
Right.
Shitty town.
Especially after its coverage on the Legacy Open that just happened. Where was that, Cincinnati?
Oh, wait, was Cincinnati Legacy or Modern?
It was modern. I heard a lot of people complaining about Lantern at that event. Like, I heard a lot of people complaining about it.
Yeah.
What were the complaints about?
That is just like, it's just abysmal to play against. Oh, you absolutely can still win.
Yep. So.
This is going to go to your graveyard. Rest in Peace is going to get exiled.
Yeah. 16. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your mic quality is pretty poop. Anuurag, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, let me see if I can figure something out about that.
Yeah, if you have a hardware mic or a headset with a mic built in, and that works.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's not the worst. It's not that bad. If push comes to shove, you can use it.
Oh,
Yeah, hey, Kory, I'll be right back.
Okay, that's cool.
yep. Activate snowboard joystick. Block. Okay.
Everyone remembers there, and you make this, and you look like one of them. I know.
Come on.
Yeah, well, I think
Let's see. I will name. That's right, Shaman. Go.
I'm waiting for my guy because he's got some people. So I can get the checks. I got like my two backed up. Yeah, no, it's been, I'm trying to, I'm getting around to I ain't got no pick for this. So I'm going to catch the film. But anyway, it's still, it's a get out.
Good.
Yeah, it's 19 during the jury meeting. I was like, yeah, it's time. Let's get back to it.
That's an activated ability, even though
Yes.
it doesn't have the two dots. Why didn't it have the two dots? It's on no.
Because it was the first set that had the mechanic in it.
Yeah.
And shake it.
Boy. No, don't want to do that. So I can at least do that. Not back over here. Play an Avenger. Go to combat. Do I want to block?
Still 18 to 17.
I'm at 16. Whatever. I need to start beating you. Get in here. Take two.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not actually an official judge. I've just been playing for a while. A long while. Sin Ring. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think I got one of each.
Yeah, this is all over the place.
I mean, I can't like kill it. He's like
kill the horror. Or you can kill human. You can kill this or this. Or this. Well, technically.
Kill the Avenger.
Okay, that's cool. Human was the creature type named, thus killing the Crusader.
Yeah. Yeah. No block. Okay. Make it a 5. Okay.
Yep.
I get an 11.
Yeah, we're still doing warm up right now, guys. We'll let you know. Rounds are probably going to start going up soon. I'm actually probably going to run up front. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm trying not to have you guys hear my disgusting nose on stream. Oh, I really wish I didn't feel this bad.
Beats for 2. 13, right? Weren't you at 15?
What's that? My one.
Yeah, weren't you at 15?
Oh, yeah, so I'm at 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
What up, homie?
What's up? What's going on?
Nothing. Chillin'. Like a villain.
Alright. And an Anuurag.
Yeah, in response to that,
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear.
Okay, I don't know if I'm using a different mic. I pulled up a headset and it has like a little mic, but I don't know if that's what it is.
Oh yeah, it definitely sounds pretty bad.
Oh god.
Yeah, it sounds like it might be it sounds like the same as before, if that helps any.
Okay, how about now?
Much better.
Much better. Are we live?
Sweet.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, okay. Wow, what did you bring me into?
What? I'm
What
always
is this engineered plague naming?
Human.
Oh. And that is a lot of hate for death and taxes.
It really is. Yo, Kory, can you share the screen again?
Yeah. I just totally X'd out of it. Oh, dumbass.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I'm like actually like in the Twitch channel.
Okay, yeah. I share the window that I'm used to streaming, so there's less delay. Hey, how you doing, man? There you guys go, in all of its glory.
Sweet.
Dirtle Simulator 2016, new year. New year, new you. How's your guys' year going so far?
It's alright. I just got this Saito order for a bunch of cards that I wanted in a foreign language.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, what cards?
I bought all these as Statecasters.
All of them?
Yeah, all of them. For you guys that aren't aware, Anuurag really wanted to buy a Japanese Staticaster. He wanted one real bad, and I told him to purchase one on Saito's site, and he said, "Nah, that's fine. I can wait." And when he went to go buy them, they were gone, and so now he gets teased about it constantly.
Oh yeah, and especially after Rudy told me to go make an account like as soon as he told me.
Late. 20 for 2. Good.
God, he has both?
You didn't equip Sword of Fire and Ice to your Dried Arbor, sir.
I can't. That's on no rod.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that sucks. Man, you're so hosed.
Yeah, it looks like. Wait, who's 3-0?
Oh, no. Those are just like, we were just tallying wins.
Are these practice games?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know when we start. I'll post up a status.
I don't even
my
know.
Prime Mage is coming back in.
How come the death attacks are even good from this position?
I don't think it can.
Damn.
I mean, I guess if it finds like Council's Judgment,
What do you do?
It would
Then
need
it could,
like 2 copies of Council's
disenchant.
Judgment.
No, like disenchant your Null Rod, Council's Judgment, your like Engineered Plague or your Dread of Night.
I'll jump the good.
You know, then we're like much better.
Alright, I'll take 2. What am I at?
I have not been keeping track, so don't ask me.
I was at 12, I think. I'm at 10.
Well, I feel like the Council's Judgment on the Dread of Night or
No,
the
just
Engineered
5,
Plague
I'm
is
at
the
9.
whatever. I mean, you just like beat by Batterskull a million times.
Yeah.
Well, here I'm actually I'm gonna run up front because rounds are probably about to go up.
Oh yeah, can you tell Phil I'm in?
Okay, I'll be right back, you guys.
Oh yeah, Affinity, you're right actually. Since this is the green Death and Taxes list, there's probably
So you're in.
a solid Pride Rate somewhere in this.
Beats. When he comes to play. I have like 1 out. Go ahead. I gotta draw it next turn.
Yo, Anuurag, did you like the way we worked out last week?
What do you mean?
Oh, I haven't.
Like, I don't know, like the way we flowed,
One,
our commentary abilities.
I didn't even
Oh
bring
yeah,
it in.
this one is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Take 2 to 7.
Why? What's up?
No, I was just curious. I like kind of want to do like, I guess a good job or whatever. I want to like.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
At it.
I could have been
Especially
blocking.
by,
Oh my god.
I bought this really sweet paint. It's a Deadpool, but there's 4 of them, and they have different colors on, and they each have a weapon of the Ninja Turtles, and it's like Deadpool turtles.
Sure. Let's bring that back in. Let's
great.
bring that back
This
in.
one. Wait, these are tokens or what?
Bring that back in. Oh, we're gonna be really dick about it.
You won't swap. They're jabbing lately. They've been jabbing. Oh, he's hitting more things. Flame jab has got top. Take out. I feel like that's just less.
Hey, Anuurag,
Good at the jab.
are you gonna go to Squabbles on Sunday?
Yeah, probably.
You are.
All right, I'll see you there.
Well, you do. You're wearing a
Oh, nice. All right.
Do I do it to you?
For anyone who doesn't know, if it's in the area, Squabbles has a legacy for power this week.
I'm like, he might bring in some kind of cannon or artifact I need to kill. I'll leave in 1 green sun and a pride mage. That'll be enough. Engineer Blake.
JPT, I'll check that out. Hey, Kory, can you hear me?
You have a lot. You have 2 Dread Knight? Oh, okay. I was waiting for. I thought that's what you were looking for. The other Dread Knight and just been like, enjoy your 1/1 Avenger and nothing, and your 2/1 horror.
JPetty, it might take a little while
play.
before you can.
Sure.
Actually, yes. Question for it. Shut up, Croc. Wait, size of thing.
Oh yeah, that is pretty loud.
Can you violate the N for each? You are balls deep, sir.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I could have done it. I forgot. Oh my god.
That's the best ring.
Oh, why didn't I do it?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
Why you no smart?
I don't know. God.
That is grand.
It is. I've done it. I've done it to block a 1/1 Delver. It was so good. In response, activate, put that in.
2 mana, put in a mother version. Speed, great play, dig butt.
Having Abrupt Decay in your deck is such an amazing thing. Being able to interact with artifacts and enchantments.
Alright, whatever.
Yeah, just permanents that you might not have been able to like deal with before, like have a good answer to. You now just have like such a good card. And this is actually really good for Drew here. Like he gets to start attacking with Dryad Arbor, and oh, I guess not. Yeah, Pride Mage certainly isn't a bad card.
Not that I do know
I might have
much
preferred
about
to like attack and use port to try and hold down a black source.
That's a great card. Trust me, it's a real nice.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is just the way Steve's fetching patterns have sort of. I actually think they hurt him now.
Hey guys, this is Kory. Just a real quick update. We're waiting on one more person who phoned in that they're going to be here before we get started.
No, I don't believe you can Violet Dryad Arbor. Kory, is there any way we could lower the volume from the store?
The microphone? Yeah.
Yeah, because it is like becoming. I can't. I can barely hear Anuurag.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'll turn it down.
2 cards back and then cracks the
Yeah.
But yeah, Rudy, did you catch what I said earlier?
No.
It was basically, I don't know if you watched Steve's fetching patterns earlier on. Like turn 1, he got like a swamp. Turn 2, he got a forest. And then turn 3, we saw he was stuck, suspending the visions, but he had like a Hindertorok in his hand that he just couldn't cast.
Right. I think there's like a fine line between fetching to protect yourself from Wasteland and the thing is people like to assume Wasteland is just as bad as Blood Moon, and they fetch very similar to it. But now Steve here is just fallen. Even though he's like ahead, he's just so far behind.
I mean, that's what it feels like. I think when the Visions kicks off, he'll be in a much better position, and this Dread of Night is probably going to end up doing enough work for him to get to that point. But it's just like, I mean, he like instead of having just a swamp and a forest, he could have like multiple colors. I mean, especially since Shardless bug or like just the bug color combinations in general are so taxing in terms of the mana that you need to have available on every single turn, especially in the early game. Like you have to have mana available for Strix on turn 2, Hindertorok on turn 2, Liliana on turn 3, like all that sort of stuff, Jace on turn 4, right? So
I think one of the most interesting parts here is if you look at Steve's hand, he has a lot of lands in his hand. So his fetching isn't necessarily even protecting himself.
Right, because he could just get more duels or whatever it is that he's looking for.
Right. So since he has more lands, it's a little bit easier to kind of fetch what you need here. And he isn't under any sort of pressure unless his opponent has multiple wastelands or he has a land-light hand, which, as we see, he doesn't have a land-light hand, and his opponent didn't have a lot of wastelands.
Right. I guess the other thing to consider is maybe Steve was like aiming for casting a bigger spell like Jace the Mind Sculptor or something like that, but I'm not really sure. I can't get a good look at his hand right now, and I don't think he has one.
It looks like he just has a Maelstrom Pulse in his hand.
Okay, yeah. If that were the case, though, like let's say he did have like a 4 CMC spell or something like that, is there an argument for grabbing basic lands then? Like, so that, you don't get wasted on turn 1 or 2, and on turn 4 you may actually be able to curve out and, hit the spell, play the spell that you actually want to.
Right, I mean, there's definitely the upside to, oh, well, if I play my basics, then I'm almost guaranteed to play spells later in the game. But at the same point in time, when you're playing a deck like Shardless, where by turn 4 you need to have like black, blue, blue, black, green, black. That's a lot of mana requirements, and sometimes it's really hard. And I'm a big fan of basics in Shardless. If you go back and you look at like any of my Shardless lists, I've almost always had a swamp and a forest because I don't like losing to Wasteland, and I don't like losing to Blood Moon. But I think there's something to be said that you want to be able to have access to all of your colors, especially against a deck that has Wasteland and Port in it that we're not super far behind against. Like, see here, like, Steve has a bunch of blue cards in his hand, and because of the way he fetched, he can't actually cast all of the blue cards in his hand.
So for those not familiar with what we're talking about here, this is something that I read actually in an article by Jerry Thompson a long time ago, and I'm sure the concept has been discussed much more before then, but it's the idea of how basic lands in certain decks actually don't help, with getting mana screwed, and in fact they encourage it. And so the general theory is that let's say you have, 2 lands in play, an underground sea and like a bayou, right? And your opponent wastes you off one of those lands. Now you have one land with 2 colors at the least. But suppose you had, 2 lands in play. One was a basic that you fetched on turn 1, thinking that you protect yourself from wasteland, and the second was like an underground sea that you naturally drew. If your opponent wastelands you in this scenario, what actually happens is that you're in an even worse position because the land that you have remaining is monocolored and won't be able to cast all the multicolored spells in your hand.
And you look at here, Steve's getting himself into just a little bit of trouble. He has all these Abrupt Decays and Maelstrom Pulse, but his opponent has a Mirran Crusader. Now, Mirran Crusader for a long time was kind of like, card you didn't really want, you didn't really need in your Death and Taxes style decks, but as time went on and these bug decks really got popular, a card like Mirran Crusader just is so powerful. Being able to attack through Shardless Agent, Deathrite Shaman, Tarmogoyf, it cannot be destroyed by Abrupt Decay or Pulse.
Yeah, that is huge.
What I
guess
actually don't
Liliana
like,
is still an out here.
right? No, he has a Dryad Arbor. He has to get rid of the Dryad Arbor first.
Brutal.
Yeah. What's actually interesting here is that Mauler had a chance to put Ancestral Visions on top of his library, and then Shardless Agent to cascade into it. Now, what he actually could have done here, if he didn't really want the Maelstrom Pulse that was on top of his deck, what he could have done was cast Shardless Agent, cascade into Visions, and then with that on the stack, he could fetch to get 3 new cards. Ooh, and looks like Mauler here has drawn Pernicious Steed, which is great against Death and Taxes, but is also so bad for him. He's just so far ahead on board, with the exception of this Mirran Crusader, that Pernicious Steed is almost laughable.
And it's this weird sort of double bind that you're seeing now, right? Because if this Mirran Crusader goes the distance, if it just gets one piece of equipment or anything like that, Mauler's going to have to actually answer with that Pernicious Steed, I think, with the scenario that we see right now. And doing so would require him to just trade his entire board, which is just really, really not, the kind of position he wants to be in.
He does kind of have equipment covered. He has an Abrupt Decay in his hand, and he has a Null Rod on field. That costs 1 more. Thalia is a great taxing effect, because so many people count their entire turns out, and then forget that Talia's on the field, and just don't have enough mana.
Oh god, especially when you have a bunch of 1-mana cantrips and you rely on that, cheap efficiency to sort of, what's the right word, progress your way or pick up velocity or whatever it is. Thalia, the jump from 1 to 2 is just huge. But yeah, Thalia is no longer on the board, and actually, I think earlier
since it just got
there was
decayed.
something about. Yeah, I think there was some conversation about whether you could vial in Dryad Arbor when the Aether Vial's on 0, and you actually can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. I'm pretty sure it counts as a land more so than it does a creature. I'm gonna actually look that up right now. Yeah, it's the first question available.
So I'm not really sure what the life totals are at this point. I don't think they were.
Right,
updated
this is
or
just
whatever.
a
Not
practice
big deal.
game.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, it feels like Steve is probably ahead in this race, anyways. So maybe answering the Mirran Crusader is not that big a deal for right now.
Oh.
I mean, worst case scenario.
Apparently, you can
Drew
violate
draws
it
a
in
land.
play.
That's meant for holding mics for high,
Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
are correct. You
yeah.
actually can violate a Dryad Arbor.
And
That's really interesting. I was not aware of that.
And I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming that because Steve pulled
I
the
might
trigger on the
have
vicious,
these
that he was
things
taking too much
for
damage.
cable management, so I can actually if you imagine, I'll have the camera over there, the cable up and over, and then connected here. I'll probably still need to.
Wow, and Drew drawing Stone Fortress 6 to go get Batterskull right here is definitely good for him.
I mean, playmats are universally in this instance.
and a turn Brainstorm. Pithy Needles and Liliana's great here.
So Affinity for Mountain says you can Bile in Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, I just looked up the ruling.
Okay. That's pretty dope. That's like a cool way to ramp. Turn 1 Bile, your end step, activate, Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, it's definitely cute. Now, what I think Mauler should do here is I think he should Liliana the Stoneforge away, and then Pithy Needle, naming Batterskull. I guess either way is fine. He doesn't actually need to do anything. What he actually could have done is he could have actually played Pithy Needle, named Stoneforge Mystic, played Liliana plus Liliana, put Liliana up to 4 and made him discard, and he just would have been very far ahead.
So the downside with that, though, and that's a solid play for the current board state, is that if Drew draws any creatures, though, Liliana's -2 becomes a lot less powerful, because then, Drew could just, sack whatever creature, so he can stack the Stoneforge, and then the Pithy Needle is sort of less powerful.
Right, that's certainly true, but looks like Liliana being on 1 is pretty much very similar in that same sense. Stoneforge Mystic attacking for 1 is going to be very damaging. He can try to keep Liliana down, but it's not going to be great. And if we draw a removal spell in the meantime, then Liliana just gets to clear 2 things. But I think I'd rather prefer Liliana going up than going down in that situation.
Yeah, actually, I think I agree with that too. Because it's both going up and down effectively gets rid of the Batterskull that might be coming into play the next turn, right?
Right. And if we play our Liliana and plus it up, then Batterskull's just gone. It's going to be gone forever. We don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, this matchup is actually really, really interesting, and I think in general, Death and Taxes versus anything is super cool. I think the way I always envision Death and Taxes is that it's sort of this sneaky deck that just has all these like tips and tools and like things that it can do that you're just not really expecting, and then suddenly this white weenies just overwhelm you.
And I'm definitely interested to see what people are going to bring to the table. Maybe we get to see Dan again in his green Death and Taxes deck. It's definitely an interesting spin and gives you a little bit more access to potentially like really powerful cards against combo. But I'm not sure what green really adds to you in any fair matchup.
So I think green adds Kasali Pride Mage. We saw Dryad Arbor as well.
Right.
There's also Gaddock Teague and Choke.
Ooh, I do like Choke. Choke seems pretty powerful against all of the mid-range blue decks.
Absolutely, I think it's a fantastic way. I mean, like the mid-range blue decks, like for example, what we just saw, like Shardless Bug versus Death and Taxes, right? It's really board presence and having, like a strong commitment there, or whatever it is. And then, by playing Choke, you sort of lock your opponent out from being able to commit to the board in any meaningful way, while you still have Bile and you can actually cast your threats and everything like that. Plus, there was that interaction you mentioned last week about how Choke and
future reference, this is the length that the camera can actually see here, is right in between those 2 notes.
Hey, Kory, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's up?
You should put a piece of tape down on the table on both sides.
Yeah.
And then this way, it's easier for people to kind of see where like the camera can end.
So on the left, we have Neeraj. Neeraj usually plays lands, right?
Yeah, the last time I saw Neeraj play Legacy, he was playing lands. He seemed pretty high on the deck. He seemed to really enjoy playing it. And, yep, Kory just confirmed for us there. He's going to be playing red-green lands, which we saw Kurt playing last week. But Kurt had definitely an interesting brew. He wasn't playing any Punishing Fire. And as such, he wasn't playing any Grove of the Burn Willows. But instead, he had Flame Jab, which we actually saw him use to really good effect against Alurin that JD Neer was playing. And he used it to clear out a bunch of creatures. And one of the interesting things that we note is because he had 2 lands in play and when he cast his Gamble, that no matter what card Gamble ended up hitting, Flame Jab was going to be more than enough to clear out whatever he needed to.
And I think there was also a couple copies of, 4 copies of Molten Vortex in the main deck, right?
Yeah, I think it was something like 4 Vortex and 1 Flame Jab, and he had a second Flame Jab in the board.
7-0. It's just additional hate, like Choke and Galactic. Those are both great. I mean, if Galactic's on the board, right, like your opponent cannot cast Sneak Attack, they can't cast Tendrils. It's just more resiliency or consistency or whatever you want to call it to stopping your combo player from going off. Though Dahlia and Candace are great, just having more hate in general is never a bad thing.
I think one of the big things that you might have actually just missed, Anuurag, is that Gaddock stops Massacre, which Canonist and Talia do not.
That is true, and that is huge too.
And Massacre is probably just one of the best things that a deck like Storm has, and sometimes Reanimator. And I'm looking at Matt's hand here. It looks like Matt's also playing lands.
All right, we're going to get ready for some dirtles. The land versus land mirror match, I've heard from Legacy Master Jarvis Yu, is quite the spectacle. It's either really dumb or it's really interesting.
What do you think is tougher, a lands mirror or a miracles mirror?
I mean, I've played the Miracles Mirror so many times now that I think it's just like a cakewalk. But I know nothing about the Lands Mirror match, so I'd have to say the Lands Mirror match is way harder.
So this site is like the best site for
I think one of the most interesting things is you can't play your Dark Depths. Because if your opponent just has stage, your opponent just gets to copy your Dark Depths.
I streamed most of the stream about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, JPED, if Deathmatch Shaman is in Neeraj's hand, then I guess he's not on Dark Depths. In fact, I'm not really sure. I can't see his deck box, but I know Neeraj usually has like a really fancy deck box, and I didn't see it, so I wonder if he actually is playing regular lands. We'll find out soon enough, though.
Yep, we'll definitely find out. This hand from Matt also looks kind of weak. It looks like he has stage, port, Mox Diamond, Windswept Teeth, which...
I totally have, not to interrupt you guys, I totally have the names reversed by mistake.
Oh, okay.
I'm a dum-dum.
Alright, there we go. We got it.
Alright, we figured it out. Neeraj is on, and Neeraj has also came to the same conclusion that his hand is kind of weak. It doesn't really do a lot. Port's not insane.
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking from Neeraj's perspective, right? Like, what exactly do you want in your opening hand? You just want something that is explosive and like comes out of the gates really fast. So it's not necessarily like you want to have as many cards in hand as possible. Though I mean, that is definitely not a bad thing. But like, if your hands is like if it's slow, then you run the risk of losing to things like Wasteland and Deathrat Shaman and stuff like that. You know, the stuff that can interact with you early in the game when you're trying to set up whatever it is that you're trying to do with lands.
Yeah, it's definitely like a fine line between having a powerful hand and having a hand that just does something. And so far, Neeraj just has had a lot of really weak hands. This one doesn't look too bad. It looks like he has a Maze of It, a Dark Depths, and a Tranquil Thicket and a Wooded Foothills. And Neeraj is saying, this is not good enough for me. Maybe he knows what Matt's playing, and he's very scared of what Matt can do. I'm not actually sure what Neeraj is looking for.
I mean, if Neeraj knows what Matt's playing, then I think it's pretty impressive. He's showing a lot of discipline, like, you know, being willing to mulligan to 4, or maybe his hands are just total garbage. It's hard to say.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Well, so far, from what I've seen from Neeraj, is most of his hands just kind of don't do a lot, and maybe he's looking for something that does a lot, but my biggest concern with that is Neeraj is mulliganing to 4 now. I don't know how much you're looking to do, and I don't know how you're going to do it when your hand only has like 4 lands, or 5 or 4 cards in it. Excuse me. And one of the best parts
if
about
Matt's on some sort of combo deck and Neeraj knows this, then like maybe Neeraj just has to aggressively mulligan to the Thespian Stage Dark Depths combo. And is that what he has right now, or is that a Maze of It and a Dark Depths?
No, it's a Maze of It and a Dark Depths, and it looks like 2 Catacombs. All right,
All right, well,
time to
he's
see
gonna
what
definitely keep on.
Matt's playing. Looks like a Tundra on the far left and a Deathrite Shaman, a Forest, okay, and a Noble Hierarch. Okay, I think Matt's playing the Knight of the Reliquary Bant deck.
Is this the one with Retreat to Coralheim?
Yes.
That is an
That's my guess
exciting deck.
because Forest and Hierarch can mean a couple different decks here, but because we have the luxury of being able to look at Matt's hand, we saw the Tundra.
Right. Otherwise, I mean, like, if we hadn't seen the Tundra, then I would have to assume that this is Infect, right? Like, no other deck plays Noble Hierarch besides this, and I guess
as long as you don't like commentate about the game.
There's definitely a couple different options. Infect is the most likeliest. Maverick could also be an option.
And this exploration was a huge draw for Neeraj. I think that's going to let him, go from 0 to 100 real fast.
It looks
Real
like
quick.
he's got an Amaze here and Verdant Catacombs. With only one card left in his hand, it looks like all Neeraj is really looking for now is a Loam. Once he gets a Loam in play and can start dredging away, he'll probably be in a much better shape.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is what I was saying earlier, how, lands, it doesn't really matter if you have, 7 cards or 6 cards or 5 cards. What's really important is to get your engine online as quickly as possible, because if he finds a Loam, he's just going to be recalling every single turn, and that is powerful. And I think somebody mentioned earlier that I think it was Gibbous M, that the Land's Mirror comes down to Punishing Fires. I think Punishing Fire is how you eventually close the game out. But to get to that stage, like what matters the most is how many explorations each player sees, and then leveraging the explorations. That Land's player will just wasteland their opponent out of the game, finally finishing them off with Punishing Fire.
Wow,
And
and
Bajukabog is
right
also
here,
extremely.
yeah, I agree with that. Right here, it looks like Neeraj is in a lot of trouble. Matt's second turn was Deathrite Shaman and Scavenging Ooze.
Oh man, and he's got 3 green sources now for the Scavenging Ooze, and
Right,
Deathrite Shaman is.
Yeah, we're really going to need to draw a Punishing Fire and a Grove of the Burn Willows pretty fast, and we're going to have to be able to kill that Ooze and then untap and hopefully find another one or a Grove to protect ourselves to kill this Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman and Scavenging Ooze are just 2 really good cards because it's going to let Matt here pressure Neeraj's life total while attacking his graveyard.
Absolutely, and one thing that I just want to sort of take a second to analyze is how would Molten Vortex do in this scenario compared to Punishing Fire? And Molten Vortex looks like it would be incredible right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Unless he didn't have any lands in hand, then
Then it would be awkward. But I imagine that you kill the Scavenging Ooze with the first land, and eventually you'll get to the Noble Hierarch and the Deathrite Shaman.
Right.
One other out that Neeraj does have is that he could actually just naturally draw the combo, but I mean the chances of that are slim of actually happening.
Yeah,
And there we go.
looks
That's
like
half.
right. It looks like he has one half of his combo, and it looks like he's just looking for stage. One of the nice things about a card like Mazavith is it's really going to protect Neeraj's life total at least a small amount.
I imagine it'll buy him more than one turn. And yeah, we should give Neeraj a shout out to how beautiful his deck is. FPV duels, foil exploration, dark depths.
Interesting. Well, apparently Matt has a Coiling Oracle in his hand. So I'm interested to see if he's. I mean, he's certainly playing at least 3.5 colors. So it's possible. So it's possible. I mean, it's possible that he's still playing the Reliquary Bant deck, and he has Coiling Oracle in his deck because it's just a good card.
It's a decent value card for sure, yeah.
But it's also possible that that he might be playing something like Birthing Pod. Don't worry, we'll make sure that Kory gets him next time. We'll find out exactly what it is. Glenalendra Archmage, I'm going to go ahead and say that that Kory's right, and I think he's playing Birthing Pod. Glenalendra is a great card, and it's going to be great for protection against Punishing Fire or from a Life from the Loam. Now, what is awesome here is that because Neeraj has Punishing Fire, he's able to get rid of Scavenging Ooze before Glenalendra resolves without any trouble.
Right. The scary part for Neeraj, though, is that now if he doesn't find a Grove before Matt untaps, that Deathrite Shaman is going to go to town on the Punishing Fire.
That's certainly true, and it seems pretty solid for him. Let's see what Neeraj's draw step yields. Cards do we really want to draw?
With the fancy watch as well.
The only issue is that a deck like Matt's might be playing something like Swords to Plowshares too, so our Dark Depths might not even be protected even if we were to go for the combo.
Yeah, that's fair.
And since we don't have a lot of lands that actually tap for mana, if we do something like Crop Rotation for Thespian Stage, it wouldn't even be enough to be able to activate it during his end step to go for it. I think what Matt's best option here, at least to start, is to get rid of that Punishing Fire before anything happens. He has Glenalendra, so he protects himself from a Crop Rotation here out of Neeraj to get a Grove. So he is pretty well protected here. I wonder what Matt's going to play here. Looks like a Coiling Oracle. Or, is that a Coiling Oracle? No, it's Eternal Witness. That is the promo Eternal Witness. This is a pretty interesting promo. I forgot that the card was made into a promo. Sometimes promos look very beautiful. Sometimes they're a little bit difficult to see on camera.
So actually, I have to wonder, if this deck is base Bant, do you think there are that many black sources in the deck anyways?
No, we're probably looking at one, maybe two max. But I think for the most part, with the exception of Deathrite Shaman, I don't think Matt really needs that many colors.
Right, and I wonder what the white is for. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with this Bant Pod deck.
Sure, there are certainly a number of options that he could present here in terms of white cards.
I imagine, like, Kasali Pride Bridge seems like it'd be something that would fit just perfectly into this deck. Ooh, that Tabernacle is a decent draw. Actually, I wonder how much does it even accomplish?
Oh, Matt has at least 4 lands, so not really, obviously, in great shape. And also, like, this is another problem that sometimes lands can run into, is where you have a lot of your lands that all do something, but they don't actually tap for mana. So if Neeraj were to draw something like, say, Life from the Loam, he wouldn't really be able to too much from it. Oh, what's nice here is that Matt decided to fetch, and now Neeraj is going to be able to Crop Rotate for free to get around Glenalendra, which is really good for him here.
And for Neeraj to win this game, I think he needs to actually take advantage of these, minor scenarios where, Matt will just leave his defenses down for half a second. I think getting this Thespian stage is actually huge. Yeah,
and
give
now
us some Riftstone. Go ahead, Rudy.
And now with Stage and Depth, in play, Matt's going to really have to play around what Neeraj can do here. And that might require him to just leave back Glenalendra unless he has... unless he has Swords to Plowshares in hand. And I'm looking at his hand, or what I can see of his hand, and it doesn't look like he has Plow here. So it looks like we might have to stay back on defense until we find another answer.
So here's a question though. Like, let's say you have Glenalendra and you have the Swords to Plowshares in your hand. Do you even attack with the Glenalendra? Because if you do attack, doesn't that telegraph Swords to Plowshares very, very heavily?
Well, it certainly does, but I think we have... oh, it looks like he was just paying for Tabernacle there. What is pretty good here, though, for Matt is because Neeraj doesn't have Maze of It anymore, he can attack for free for 4 this turn to put him down to 12, and then he can start the beats again next turn with just Eternal Witness and attacking for 3 a turn. So it's not like too bad, and he can leave Glenalendra back. So he has a little bit of time as long as Neeraj doesn't draw Punishing Fire. Punishing Fire here would be really good for Neeraj. He can then try and kill Glenalendra after he attacks with Dark Depths, and it blocks, so Glenalendra's just out of the way for the next time, or he can use it to kill Deathrite Shaman. Punishing Fire, I think, here would just be a really good draw, assuming Matt doesn't have something like Swords to Plowshares in his hand. And even if Matt does have Swords to Plowshares in his hand, it's still not bad for Neeraj because he just gets to gain 20 life and has a little bit more time to work with.
And actually, just a minor point, just thinking about it now, whether or not, you have the Swords to Plowshares, I think Matt still has to attack with the Glenalendra, if he does have it, right? Like, telegraphing the Swords to Plowshares doesn't really matter that much because Neeraj is really on the back pedal, and he's going to pull the trigger on the Dark Depth stage combo, right? So if Neeraj is going to do that anyways, it doesn't matter what you're telegraphing to him because he's not really factoring that into his decision.
Wow, what is impressive here is Matt true Swords to Plowshares right off of Coiling Oracle.
I imagine that must feel just like when you reveal a Sensei's Divining Top with a counterbalance. Just strike the fear.
What a great draw with Coiling Oracle. Yeah. Really what we need here is we need a Punishing Fire pretty badly. If we draw Punishing Fire here into a Grove, we might be able to hold off Matt's offense enough to find Loam, and then if we need to, we can make a 20-20 and just gain a bunch of life. But right now, we're on such a back foot that I think what Neeraj is really looking for here is just a way to deal with all of his creatures that's not just Tabernacle. Tabernacle's great at keeping Matt not able to use all of his mana every turn, but with as much mana as Matt has right now, it doesn't look like he's that concerned.
And the interesting thing that I've noticed about Matt is that he's not even really going for... Actually, that's a lie. Never mind. I take that back. Sorry. I was going to say, like, Neeraj's graveyard seems pretty healthily stocked for, the kind of board that Matt has right now. But I guess this Tabernacle is just really slowing down Matt's ability to deprive Neeraj of everything he has.
For sure, and it looks like Matt's struggle right now is what does he want to keep and what does he want to get rid of? And really interesting choice here. Matt is just electing to get rid of all of everything that he has and let the Glenalendra come back. I'm not sure what Matt has in his hand that he wants to do that for. I wonder if he has Sun Titan.
Yeah, or maybe like Primeval or something.
I think he's more likely to have Sun Titan than he is Primeval.
It could be Allurin. I think the Coiling Oracle is what would tip me off to that the most. But, I mean, having seen all these other cards like Glenalendra, And well, I guess Eternal Witness could be in that deck too. But the Glen Ranger really throws me off. It could be a Lure just with that card. Though typically Allure is more has a higher black concentration, and right now we're really seeing base Bant, so I wonder if it actually is.
Right, and Titania here is also great. Titania here, getting him back a Misty Rainforest is great because it lets him have another land, lets him thin out his deck a little bit, and also means during Neeraj's end step he can make a 3/3 and really put the pressure on.
Is it a 3/3 or is it a 5/3?
It is a 5/3. And Neeraj really needs to make something happen here because during Matt's end step he can make a 5/3, untap, pay for everything, and then attack.
Well, Neeraj did draw the gamble, so that might be the first step. Glen Erlendra will say no to that, though.
And I think Matt's perfectly fine with that trade, too. Question is what are we looking for with our gamble? If it resolves. Yeah, Greg makes a great point. Coinland Oracle does come with the Elspeth versus Kiora deck. So maybe Matt was playing that. Yeah, I think Matt's piecing together here that he can make a 5/3, and with Deathrite Shaman and Titania, he can attack for 12 and kill Neeraj this turn, as long as he doesn't let this gamble resolve.
Thanks for the follow, Riddle.
And if you're Neeraj in this position, right? Like, unless so I'm assuming Neeraj, has a land in hand or something like that, because he wouldn't just leave himself unable to make the 20/20 at the very last second, right? So. Or rather, to clarify, Neeraj knows that the gamble is not going to resolve, and Matt knows that Neeraj isn't just going to simply throw away the game, like the opportunity to make the 2022 block. And so Matt has to assume that there's a land in his hand. So that makes me wonder, do you even counter the gamble? Because look at the situation now. The flyer is gone. Next turn, Neeraj is just threatening game.
Right, because Matt has to attack. Neeraj has to make a 20/20. It's going to get plowed.
Right.
And he's going to go to 32, and then he's going to take 10 down to 22.
Thank you. That's Mega Man 2 Air Stage for the fall music.
Oh, man.
I play a longer version, but I don't want it to get too repetitive.
Mega Man is great.
You're great.
I agree.
I miss you, Rudy.
Thanks, Kory. I miss you too. I'll see you on Sunday.
Oh, hell yeah! Now I'm excited.
Gonna come try to win a Ruby.
Well, my money's on you.
Thanks, man. I just gotta see if Paul will lend me cards.
My money's on you because I'm not playing that day.
Boom. Oh, wait. Are you coming though?
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm gonna be casting.
Oh yeah. Do you want to bring me? You want to bring me a deck?
Only if it's aggro loan.
You want to bring me lands?
I have all lands minus Tabernacle, 1 Grove, and 1 Port, I think. Oh, and Explorations.
I can get everything but the Tabernacle for sure.
Yeah, just ship me a list, and I'll let you know what I don't have.
Sweet. I just want to have some fun. I want to make other people's lives miserable.
You want to have some fun. That's great.
What it looks like Matt just attacked with the 5/3 and let Neeraj block. So Neeraj just gets to go up to 32 for free, which I really don't like here. We really need to put a lot of pressure on Neeraj before anything happens. Even though we have a Deathrite Shaman, this can still be really bad for us. If Neeraj draws Punishing Fire, he gets the Punishing Fire, the Deathrite. I guess Scavenging Ooze is a good follow up if that's what he has.
And Neeraj is very quickly tapping mana. I wonder if he drew life from the loan.
Yep. And unfortunately, it looks like Scavenging Ooze and Deathrite Charm are going to take care of all of his targets. And it looks like Matt's figured out here. He's just going to eat all of Neeraj's graveyard, and just going to go from there.
Actually, this is really interesting. Now, remember earlier, Matt sacrificed a couple of his creatures to the Tabernacle. What this allows him to do now is to put the Scavenging Ooze out of Punishing Fire reach.
Right, so it looks now like Neeraj is really falling behind. It looked like he had an opportunity to really get back into things, but now it's not looking like he's going to have that opportunity.
The timer on the wall is right. I'm way off in the current time.
Yeah, and it looks like here that Matt just has so many lands that he just can do really whatever he needs to do right now. And what my guess here is what Matt's going to do is he's going to eat a couple of his creatures. He's going to eat Loam, and then he's going to go ahead and start getting in. Now that we have all this extra mana, there's no reason for us not to just go ahead and just get in with all our guys as much as we can and get as much damage as we can in. All right, it looks like Matt's just going to play a safe game here. Even though Neeraj has nothing in hand and only a life from the Loam that we're about to get rid of, Matt's decided that his plan is he's just going to go ahead and play it safe. He knows he can keep Loam locked up with his Scavenging Ooze's Deathrite Shaman, so maybe he's just going to let Neeraj dredge every turn. But even then, I don't think that's necessarily even a reasonable thing to do. I think we just kind of want to keep Neeraj down as much as possible and don't give him any opportunities to draw back into anything.
That's true. So one sort of twisted line of thinking, I'm not really sure how valid this is, but let's say, if Matt removes the Loam from Neeraj's graveyard right now, right? That means Neeraj is going to draw for a turn, and I think what is the only way Matt can lose right now is if Neeraj probably just draws the combo, right? And so by keeping the Loam in the graveyard, what Matt is effectively doing is sort of choking off Neeraj's draw step in the sense that all the cards that Neeraj could theoretically draw, Matt would just exile before they could do anything. And
I did think about that. I actually did. If his first couple of draw steps were stage depths, but Matt still wins that race. Even if his first two draw steps are exactly stage and depths, Matt still wins that race because he gets to attack for 12 a turn.
Yeah,
not
okay,
including what Deathrite Shaman does. So at 20, for 12 a turn, that's just 2 turns until Neeraj is just dead.
That's a fair point, yep.
Well, we need to figure out what our extension is, because I started it at what I thought was the same time he started it.
And it looks like Matt here has Tali in his sideboard, a Reclamation Sage, Ethersworn Canonist, Gaddock, Sower of Temptation, a Greed Sun Zenith, and some Spell Pierces. I think Matt just might be on Bant good stuff.
That Sower of Temptation seems amazing.
Okay, when the actual timer that's on the wall right now says 10 minutes. So I don't know where you're coming from, but if you want to come over. I mean, you should just come on over to say hi to me, regardless.
What's interesting here is I think Sower is cute, but I think it might just be too cute. It costs a lot of mana, and we need to work Neeraj into a very specific angle for us to really get Sower to work.
Yeah, it was at least 645, 645.
Right, the fact that Sower only has 2 toughness means that it will die very easily to Punishing Fire. Yeah, Marcus,
I could think of some pretty bad top decks for Matt. And I think what if Neeraj ever puts control in, I can't imagine Sower's great.
But then again, I wonder if Sower is just better than some of the worst cards in Matt's deck. Like, I mean, I don't even know what's in Matt's deck, so it could be just theoretically possible that whatever he's boarding Sower in for, if he does board it at all, is better than whatever he's taking out. Like a 4-mana 2/2 that just beats in, like, is theoretically better than some other Magic cards that exist.
Anuurag, you gonna be playing in Curio Cavern tomorrow?
I am actually in Houston right now. I will be flying tomorrow, and I don't know what time I land.
I will be right back.
Alright, that's cool. So what are you doing out in Houston, Anuurag?
Just here visiting some family, for the New Year's. It's pretty exciting.
Do anything cool?
Sorry, say that again?
Did you do anything cool for New Year's?
Slept a lot.
Nice. Dude, as I find as I get older, I like sleeping more and more. Like, it becomes higher on my priority list.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've been awake for, till midnight for a while, actually a couple of years now.
Thug life. Griglinski, thanks for the follow. Yeah, we had a pretty cool party. Neeraj was with us actually. We had quite a good time. Did you have a good time, Neeraj? I had a really good time. Yeah, we pretty much just played Code Words like all night. We had 2 simultaneous games of it. We were drinking heavily. It was a lot of fun.
All right, I'm back. I hope Matt does not have Sower in his deck anymore. I think it's kind of one of the looser cards that we can board in.
I mean, I'd be excited to see Sower of Temptation being in against the Lance player. It's like the ultimate, like, no fear card, right? Like, Punishing Fire, Molten Vortex? Get out of here.
I wonder if Neeraj has something like Molten Vortex in his sideboard.
So I can tell you what I think Neeraj does have in his sideboard. I played him online a while ago, and it was absolutely crushing because I had a turn 2 counterbalance, and then his next few turns in this sequence exactly were Frozen Grip, kill your counterbalance, Choke, tap all your lands, Chalice of the Void, stop all your 1-drops, naturally draw the Dark Depths from my Thespian Stage in play, and then I just lost. It was insane.
Well, it certainly sounds like you got outplayed.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I remember a time when a deck like Lands wasn't unplayable, but like it almost certainly felt so.
There was a long string of time where 43 lands was strictly tier 2.
Right.
It was also like 4 or even it was 3 or 4 color back then too.
Right, with the blue. I
Yep.
I remember when I first started playing Legacy was when Esper Stoneblade was one of the best. When the format was Maverick, Show and Tell, Esper Stoneblade, Rug Delver, and like that was the format. Like people played like smatterings of other decks, but those were like the biggest.
I think that was actually one of my favorite times to play Legacy because like I just love watching Rug Delver versus Maverick. Like I hands down just absolutely love watching that matchup. That and I was on Reanimator at the time and was just pooping on everybody.
Yep. The first open that I ever top 8'd was with Esper Stoneblade, and
that deck was so good too.
that deck was definitely great. But my top 8 was like Rug Delver, I think 2x Rug Delver, 1 Maverick, 1 My Deck, 1 Elves, 1 Goblins.
Goblins, yeah, that's another deck you don't see much of anymore.
Yeah. In that tournament, I beat Reed Duke and Jim Davis, both on Reanimator with Esper Stoneblade.
Nice. Did you hear how Anuurag did at the New Jersey Open?
No.
10th place.
Lucky.
I conceded to that man in the last round on day one because I was X2-1 and he was I was X3 and he was X2-1. And then he proceeded to play Miracles 5 times in a row, including beating Joe Lissette and Reed Duke back to back.
Yeah, let's see. My top 8 was Goblins, Rug Delver, Elves, myself playing Esper Stoneblade, Canadian Threshold, Emrakul Enchantress, and 2 Maverick decks.
Enchantress, that's another one.
And another Rug Delver deck. This deck list was so old, I had a Glacial Fortress in my deck to play around Choke.
That strat.
So just looking at the match real quick, I think we see Neeraj cast the turn 2 Life from the Loam with no targets just to get the engine starting. I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, agreed.
And Matt's on a mulligan 5 right now, so I think Neeraj should be as aggressive as possible. Just, like the make him have it test.
Yep. And it looks like he at least has an answer to Loam, which I know Matt really didn't feel like doing this last time, but I think even though it's not great, I think his best opportunity right now is to eat that Loam before things start going crazy. And I don't know if I saw Matt's hand right, so you have to take a look at it with me when he opens up his hand again. But it looked like he had a Dark Depths in his hand.
Oh man. Say it isn't so. So I'm surprised Neeraj cast the Life from the Loam into that Death Ride Shaman, because he knew the Shaman was there, right? I was expecting like a Tranquil Thicket or something like that.
Looks like he has another Loam in his hand, which is really interesting. It looks like we're basically just one lane short. It looks like Neeraj is going to crop rotate here for a Dark Depths and then try to Loam back what he has.
Okay, so that
Wasteland.
makes sense. Neeraj knew that Matt would main phase exile the Life from the Loam, and so his real goal was to tap out the Death Ride Shaman so that he could just get rid of all of the lands.
Right, and what's really nice here is because he has another Life from the Loam in his hand, he can still Loam back the Waste and the Taiga, play the Wasteland to waste him again, and then also have a Taiga. And just play them both, waste you again. Yeah, and Matt's now really far behind.
I mean, Matt just played the best card of the game, though, so maybe he's got a chance now.
Certainly true. I'm not sure how many black sources Matt has in his deck. We guessed it was going to be 2, but let's see if he has another one. No, it looks like Matt's just going to go with an island here. Exile Wasteland. What do we got? Scavenge News. Scavenge News obviously is not bad at all. And he's just hoping to dodge Neeraj, loaming into a Punishing Fire. And it looks like Grove, Port.
I mean, this is Magic the Gathering at its finest. Just like, look at this. Complete mana denial, just not even playing the game. I mean, this is exhilarating. I love it.
Yeah, and now Neeraj is just really far ahead, and he gets to... Yeah, that's my fault, guys. I was watching the Twitch stream because the Twitch stream looks so good. and I kind of got caught up on that. Yeah, Neeraj here is just super far ahead, and he has a port and he has a loam going, and I think Matt's going to try and use scavenging ooze here to. Oh, never mind. I thought Matt was going to try to use his Deathrite Shaman to scavenging ooze to eat the loam, but looks like he's just going to try and go ahead and press whatever creatures he has into play. Now, the hope here for Matt is that Neeraj doesn't draw crop rotation, nor does he end up drawing a Tabernacle. Because either way, that would put Matt into a very bad position.
Yeah, again, like in Matt's position right now, he just needs Neeraj. He needs to fail like a bunch of draw steps. Like outside of that, it's going to be very tricky to get back in. I mean, I actually think. It's really hard to say if it's better to play the Noble Hierarchy than it is to eat the Loam with the Scavenging Ooze. I mean, there's arguments for both, right? Like on one hand, playing the Noble Hierarch develops your board, or rather your mana, in fact, and enables you to play larger spells and things like that. And oh my God, this Tabernacle!
Yeah,
is just,
he didn't just hit Tabernacle; he also hit Dark Depths. So now Matt has to not only pay for everything, he has to also somehow threaten that he has Swords of Plowshare. So what we're probably going to see Matt here do is he's probably going to use his island to pay for a Deathrite Shaman, and then use his Noble Hierarch to pay for that, and then let the Scavenging Ooze die. But this is not a good position. I don't think Matt really has any outcome unless he drew exactly Swords of Plowshares. Because Neeraj, with Life from the Loam in hand, is just going to make a 20/20 every turn. And with Exploration, he'll be able to play both of them every single turn until Matt runs out of answers. And this is the interesting part about a deck like Red Green Lands.
Closer. You guys have an extension, so you have about 12 minutes. 12? Yeah, you guys got a little bit extra time on that.
And what is really interesting about a deck like Red Green Lands is once the engine keeps going, and especially if you have an Exploration in play, you just can press every advantage you have to the fullest. And we saw Neeraj there. Like once he got Life from the Loam going, he put Matt into a position where it didn't matter what Matt drew. It didn't look like he was going to come back from any of it. And I'm gonna go ahead and hedge here and say that Matt doesn't have a card in his deck like Force of Will, so he doesn't really have a way to stop Neeraj from any of his really broken draws. So maybe he wants something like Reclamation Sage to be able to slow Neeraj down, because if him and Neeraj are operating on, the same kind of speed, Matt has an ability to really try and come back into the game, or really press his own advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, like, looking at this matchup just from the two games that we've seen, right? The super, super long game, I feel, is going to be in Neeraj's favor. And so maybe, like, what Matt really just needs to do to win is to, like, sort of stymie the early first few turns, with like, for example, the Spell Pierce that he was considering, or maybe Kasali Pride Mages to, blow up, Explorations and Mox Diamonds, that kind of thing. And then establish like a giant board and just beat in so that by the time Neeraj has assembled his combo or his engine or whatever, the game is already over. That it's too late.
Sometimes you gotta just jam it.
And like another thing to point out is like the seven cards that we see Neeraj opening with in game 2 is exactly what I was talking about earlier, in the sense that that's the kind of engine, that's the kind of fast start that you really want with lands to get going. Just like, to be able to play multiple lands a turn, to have your Life from the Loam on the second turn, to start buying back all your fetch lands and your wastelands and all that sort of thing, and just like making it difficult for your opponent to play Magic from the very beginning of the game.
You guys have like 10 minutes, by the way. Not trying to rude you yet.
They know what each other's playing.
I can't really comment about the game. I can't comment about the game.
What's really interesting is, I think in the last 6 months or so, maybe 6 months to a year, we've certainly seen the rise of big mana decks in general. people just are starting to play them a lot more. We see decks like Red-Green Lands picking up in popularity. In Legacy, we see decks like Tron picking up in Modern, and then we see like a Red-Green Eldrazi deck in Standard. And really, all the ramp cards are just so powerful now. It's starting to get to a point where they can hang with all the best mid-range decks, control decks, and sometimes they just look like they're even better.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Modern and Standard particularly, but I can tell you for a fact that in Legacy, definitely Lands has become much more prominent than it used to be.
More so than usual.
And it looks like Neeraj has an Exploration, a Crop Rotation in his hand, and a Port and a Wasteland in the stage. So this is kind of a hand that Neeraj really wants, minus a life from the Loam.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ask for much more than what he's already got. I wonder what Matt's starting 7 was. Considering that, last game he mulliganed to 5, he must have something that he wanted, or that he boarded in, or whatever it is, that, might help him out in the earlier game.
Looks like Matt's deciding here whether he wants to search for a forest or a duel. Alright, it looks like he's going to go with the duel. Let's see what his first turn play is. Maybe Noble Hierarch, maybe a Deathrite Shaman. He has some good 1-drops available to him, and Deathrite Shaman's obviously one of the best. It looks like he's actually protecting himself from Wasteland here by not fetching for a Black Source just yet.
Yeah, that might also say something about his hand, too, like what other pieces are inside it. And Marcus, that's a good point. I think Thespian Stage definitely did make lands much more powerful in the sense that now it has, more ways to combat access. More ways to combat combo decks. For example, instead of just dying to Sneak and Show on turn 3 or 4, you could theoretically assemble a combo and kill him with 20 points of damage in the air.
Right, it definitely gave them a new angle of attack. But even when Thespian Sage was introduced, land still wasn't really played that much when that happened. I've really seen this explosion in lands relatively recently. It feels like, even though obviously the deck has had access to Thespian Sage and Dark Depths for a while, it really wasn't played near as much as it is now.
And oh my god, you thought the last opening hand from Neeraj was explosive. Take a look at this one. Wow.
Right, double Exploration means we get to play an extra 2 lands a turn, and it looks like Neeraj has Stage and a Mazavith and a Crop Rotation in hand. So next turn he can actually, if he draws a Dark Depths or another land, he can actually play out his entire hand and combo his opponent.
I love it.
This is pretty impressive that Neeraj is looking at, if he draws a land that taps for mana here, that he can just kill his opponent on turn 3. And he did.
It.
Yeah.
Just look at that. No courtesy. Just wham them all on the table.
I mean, Matt doesn't really have any interaction with anything that he's doing, and Neeraj knows it, and I think Matt knows it, and now he's just hoping that Neeraj's last card in hand isn't a Crop Rotation. And I like that Neeraj is waiting here. It is definitely really, really shows a lot of patience from Neeraj. He can go for it now and leave himself open to the vulnerability of a lot of different things from Matt, but he's just waiting, letting Matt maybe waste his entire turn tapping out, and then you going from there. And it looks to me like Matt's in a lot of trouble right now, and it doesn't look like it's getting better for him.
Real quick shout out. We just broke 100 viewers. Thank you guys so much. I have to actually move the title because the viewer count is overlapping some of the other text.
That's awesome. Thanks guys for watching. We really appreciate it. And now we lost viewers because you said that.
Yep. Commentator's curse.
I mean, still, it is possible that Neeraj could just draw a bunch of blanks for a couple turns, and Matt could establish some sort of board presence.
Right. What really depends here is what Matt decides to play here. If Matt taps out for any reason, he is just going to be in a ton of trouble.
Okay, Knight of the Reliquary is a really good draw, actually, for Matt. I mean, if he gets to untap with it, there's a lot of interaction that he could potentially search from his deck to combat whatever tricks Neeraj might have.
And Tormod's script here is also very interesting. With as much time on the clock, you have to wonder, is Neeraj just going to go ahead and crop rotate now? And it looks like he's just going to. He's just going to force Matt to have something here for his Dark Depths. And even though obviously Tormod's Crypt and Knight of the Reliquary aren't great for that situation, I don't really think Neeraj has too much more going on, and I don't think there's a reason not to go for it and just force Matt to have it, because things aren't going to get better for him. And it looks like Matt just has 2 dead cards in his hand. He tried to represent Plow really heavily right here, and Neeraj just doesn't care. He's just going to go for it. He's going to force Matt to have an answer. Yes, not so silent Bob. This is round 1.
Yep, and that's a concession. So what's interesting is I wonder if Neeraj didn't have the second exploration, would Matt have been able to untap with the Knight of the Reliquary and been able to potentially search up like Caracas or Wasteland or things like that?
I believe. No, I think he'd still be okay. I think because I guess he can't play the Wasteland that turn. But he can play. Turn 1, he goes land, exploration, second land. And then he could untap and play his 3rd land, 4th land, and then get rid of crop rotate one of those lands away, and then be able to death him as long as all of his lands tapped for mana. So I actually think he still has it even with 1. It's just he was able to Wasteland Matt on turn 1. I think otherwise he had just enough mana to do exactly that.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, it's just I've very rarely seen double exploration on turn 1, and I know that whenever I do see it, like the chances of actually winning are just so slim.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it looks like Matt had a really interesting deck. It looks like he brought his, some Bant good stuff to the table, but it looks like Neeraj's red-green lands was able to get it done here in round 1.
Yeah, and that's the fancy deck box I was saying that Neeraj had. Negator 7/7, so the Knight could have come down on turn 2, but Neeraj would have played the 2 extra lands. He would have had 4 mana to crop rotate and activate the combo, I believe, while the Knight was summoning Sig. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't completely tell. If this would have landed,
actually, Rudy, I'm not so sure because Matt was on the play, right? So maybe the Knight could have come down on turn 2, in fact, and just messed things up a lot.
No, I think Neeraj can still do it on his second turn. You have to remember the second exploration let him play 2 extra lands, and those 2 extra lands were Wasteland and Maze of Ith.
And right, and what I'm saying is that the Wasteland stopped Matt from playing the Knight on turn 2. And if
but right,
Matt
you're definitely right. I mean, if he has Caracas or Wasteland in his deck, then he can definitely get got there. But Neeraj on his turn 2 can make a 20/20.
What did he keep changing my deck name is?
What does it say?
It now says 4-color bud confirmed.
Right, and so then once if Neeraj
Actually,
does
there
go
is
for it on
only
turn
one
2, so
black source,
yeah,
and
he
that's
could
the one
definitely
by
go
you.
for it on turn 2, but the issue is then,
That's only 'cause
you
it's
know,
Death
Caracas
Row
could be a
so it's
problem
not
with the
four
Knight of
colors.
the Rover. I wonder if
Yeah.
Neeraj would even go for it in that situation.
I think we might have to in that situation because if we assume that he has a wasteland or if he has a wasteland, I mean, there's a chance that he might not have a Caracas in his deck. I'm not 100% sure, but it didn't look like his deck could afford necessarily to have a Caracas. So there's a good chance that we can assume that Matt doesn't actually have a Caracas in his deck. And if he doesn't have a Caracas in his deck, then it's probably okay to just go for it before we get wastelanded, and then just force him to have Swords of Plowshares there.
Let's see if we have any other matches coming up. I don't know if
That was
it might just
the
be
end of the round, so we're gonna have to
Okay.
wait for round 2 pairings.
sounds good. Oh god, my friend just sent me a link to somebody making a potential turn 1, turn 2 Hedron alignment kill, and it hurts my heart.
I don't know what Hedron alignment is.
It's the new card from Oath of the Gatewatch that says at the beginning of your turn, I think you can reveal your hand. If you have a Hedron alignment in your
Oh.
hand, yeah, that card in your hand, in play, in exile, and in your graveyard, you win the game, and it has like Scry 1 on it, something you pay 1 in the blue.
Right, so you just intuition.
Oh god. It's real.
So you like have one in play, you cast intuition, you put 2 in the graveyard, and then you can play a delve spell and exile 1.
And if possible, try not to rest your arms on the table too much because it shakes the cam.
I will rest them on my lap.
Something like
Yeah,
Set
I
Adrift
asked
or
if she... No, she opted out of being the feature match.
Yes, but she didn't know that she was playing me, so now
Oh, now you guys want the feature match? All right. Well, do you guys mind? Okay, yeah, go for it. You guys are fine.
it's cute that you can pitch it to Force of Will
What's
to accomplish some
This
goals.
side.
Oh, that's great.
They were the initial pick. And she opted out, but she changed her mind.
I hate you so much. We were supposed to go out drinking, and now you're doing this to me.
Well, since you don't have a playmat.
And Sarah, is it? I guess I have to ask: is it okay to have you on the stream and have your name on the stream and all that good stuff?
Just don't put my social security on.
I'll try not.
Can I have a
She's playing Angel.
So Rudy, my friend just sent me the legacy version of it, and it's turn 3 when you go turn 1 island, like cantrip or whatever.
Seriously.
Turn
I'm sorry.
2,
How do you spell your name?
SARAH?
what's up?
Unless that guy gave you.
Is
One
it-
more
is it
time?
okay if I have your last name, or do you want to
It's turn 1 cantrip, turn 2 soul land into Hedron alignment,
Okay.
turn 3 with a trigger on the stack, intuition, and then use Fairy Macabre to exile whatever and win the game.
That's great. Oh, pitch it to Chrome Mox is another good option. There are a lot of really good options for this.
This is hilarious.
While we're on camera.
Man, I can't wait to see people try this deck.
Do we have a mic on us?
This one's live, but it's not that loud.
It's not that much.
You can curse, but if you can maintain, that's much appreciated.
You can tell Jameson and Sarah that I can hear everything that they're saying, and also that I said hi.
Rudy says hi.
Oh, hi,
He
Rudy.
says he can hear you.
I love you.
Rudy, you smell like chili.
Tell Jameson I love him, and tell Sarah, shut up.
He says, tell Jameson I love him and tell Sarah to shut up. Alright, let me update this. Round tracker.
Oh, Relica Progenitus in the main deck?
I saw.
There are a lot of sweet things going on with this Hedron alignment deck.
What if it's real?
Oh, I didn't.
Oh, God.
That. That's pretty awesome. So I was thinking Intuition was the first card I thought of, but Intuition plus Relic, Proggy, sign me up.
Darn.
And good luck, guys. And gals.
So she has some washed out proxies, but they're all full.
Yeah. I already asked.
Oh man, what are they playing? Grixis Delver, what's Sarah playing?
Honestly, don't remember. Yeah, as soon as I saw these two paired up, I was like, "Oh, this has to be done."
I don't know if Billy realizes, but Hedron has hexproof, so you cannot abrupt decay it.
Oh man!
The
The more
only
you
way
talk
for
about this,
it has hexproof.
wait, just to clarify, is Sarah playing land? No?
No,
Okay.
No, Sarah's playing mono white soldiers, I think.
Oh my gosh.
Are you serious? Oh, wait, I don't even.
Yes, Billy. Hedron.
Do you know what she's playing?
Angel Stompy.
Oh, is that what you're? Okay.
Yes, she's playing Angel
Alright.
Stompy. I'm not kidding.
You know what? I gotta high five you on
It
stream because I like.
Looks
that.
like we're gonna have to start playing Dramoka's Command in Legacy to try and beat the Hedron.
No, I mean I brewed Soldier Stompy for a while, so I actually really like both decks.
I'm actually a really big fan of the Soldier Stompy deck. One of the most interesting parts of the whole Angel, or the whole like white Stompy deck in general, is that most of them, if not all of them, play Suppression Field in the main deck. And a deck that is reliant, like Jameson's, on Deathrite Shaman and Fetch Lands, Suppression Field, especially on turn 1, might just end the game.
Suppression Field is an insane card that is way more powerful than it looks. And a nice turn 1 Ultra Delver. I swear, every time I hear the no reveal on turn 1, I also jump in joy like Sarah just did.
Looks like we're getting in here with our Elvis Delver. Ooh, Young Pyromancer into Gataxian Probe. Looks like he doesn't have Gataxian Probe in his hand, but if he did, it would probably be exactly what he needs to really get on board here against Sarah. Looks like a Chrome Mox. Oh, and it looks like she pitched an Armageddon, but still has an Armageddon in hand, which means that if Jameson isn't careful, he can get blown out here very hard. And a
right now we
Chalice
see
on
Sarah.
1.
And we're seeing Sarah play around the days that is in Jameson's hand. I wonder if there was an argument for... oh wait, no, never mind. You couldn't daze the Chromox anyways because the Caracas was up.
Yeah, there was no reason to daze it either. I think we kind of want to save it for a big spell. It looks like Jameson here has Wasteland in hand. So what we might be looking at is Wasteland on the Caracas and get in for 3. And Looks like we have a Bolt and a Daze in hand, which is going to be very good here.
Well, the bolt doesn't really do anything because of Chalice.
Well, we can just cast it just to get value with our young Pyromancer, and obviously since it is on Sarah to remember her trigger, that Jameson might be able to sneak away with a couple spells here and there, and we hope Sarah's on top of her game, but yeah, you never know.
Ooh, there it is. All right.
I said it quietly.
Looks like Jameson let out a little curse there. We're very disappointed in him.
But yeah, I definitely think if you're Jameson, you have to daze a suppression field because it's just like another locked piece that'll keep you out of the game. I mean, does this Angel Stompy deck play Moat?
I do not believe that it does, but if it might,
I think it does.
I mean, there is that possibility, but I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, if
I'm
Moat
pretty familiar with the deck.
actually, comes into play, then what is Jameson's only Delver is the only way he can win then, right?
Yeah, guys, Sarah's using proxies. There's a limit on the amount of proxies games and stuff allows people to have, and they do that so everybody can play the format. Jameson here is telling Sarah that he loves her. That's very nice of him to tell his girlfriend that. And now Sarah's falling really far behind. She's going to need something like Ensnaring Bridge here to pull herself back in.
So I guess you could say you're choosing her twice.
Oh,
Kory, I'm going to have
Slow
to... Kory, I'm going to have to ask you to not do that.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, it looks like Sarah does
All right.
have a vote.
Oh my goodness. Oh my god.
Oh, I apologize. Sarah is Jameson's fiancée. It looks like we got a bunch of things that can't attack.
Oh my god.
Oh, it looks like our Delver still can't
this
attack.
Delver.
I'm spared for a couple turns.
Yeah, when... Yeah, it looks right here that Jameson's really starting to fall behind really quickly, and Sarah's just hoping that Delver doesn't flip and she can find an answer for it sometime soon.
And I think he just casually flipped the lightning bolt over. So
Yeah,
the clock
I
is
do
back
not.
on.
I do not think Jameson's thrilled about drawing a lightning bolt there.
What do you have life points at right now?
19 to 9.
Okay.
Well, I guess the best card to draw would be like Forcible, maybe.
Forcible for Jameson would be the best thing that he can do here. And it looks like Sarah has an even Mind Sensor, which is just going to block this Delver.
And it seems like Jameson is doing a desperate lightning bolt because Sarah remembers the trigger. If this Delver leaves the table, I don't think Jameson has any other way of actually winning, right? Because the Moat is preventing all the other cards from attacking, and the Chalice is preventing any other Delvers from entering play.
Yep, that's definitely looks like what we're at right here, and it looks like Sarah is just pulling too far ahead here, and I think she might actually have Armageddon in her hand here too. So she might actually be able to, if she draws another land, Armageddon Jameson right out of this game, prevent him from really drawing potentially anything. I'm not sure what he has, but whatever he has, it might not make it.
I gotta say, this is amazing to watch.
Yeah, it looks here like a... Oh, is that a Windborn Muse?
That is a Windborn Muse. Get taxed.
Folks at home aren't familiar with Windborn Muse. Your opponent's creatures can't attack you unless their controller plays 2 for each creature that they control that's attacking you. And it's a 2/3 with flying. So at this point here...
Oh, it flies. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm enjoying this so much.
And yeah, and it looks here, Jameson's realized that he's not drawing anything. He's just going to go ahead and pack it up and pack it in here. He's going to have to try and get games 2 and 3 because this game was not looking any better for him as time went on. I really like that Sarah took the time to play around cards like Days when she had the chance to, and that ended up being everything she needed to do.
Right, and I feel like pre-board Jameson's deck is not really well equipped to handle cards like the cards that resolve under Days Enforceable, like Chalice of the Void. But post-board, maybe there will be some artifact destruction. I don't know if Jameson's on a 4-color deck or if he's on like a solid 3-color deck. But things like Ancient Grudge could potentially come in.
Yep, it looks like he has an Engineered Explosives in his sideboard as well.
Okay, yeah, that's really good.
What's up? Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. You're good. I burp all the time.
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and answer what Ancestral's talking about. He's saying that he does not a big fan of people having proxies. People do spend a lot of money in Standard, and for the most part, you're right. The Legacy community is very nice, and some people do lend out cards, but not everybody does, and that's very reasonable for everyone not to want to lend out cards because it is cards that they spent a lot of money on, and they don't necessarily trust other people with it. And when you open up your store to have a lot of proxies, then people can just come and they can try to play different decks and they can try and do different things, which is really awesome because not everybody has a chance to play Legacy and they're not sure what they want. And because Legacy has a price barrier attached to it, that you might want to be able to test the deck you're interested in playing. And once you can do that, then you can kind of figure out what you want to buy, and then you can start buying pieces for it that you need. And I mean, proxies aren't like awful, especially when a place like Games and Stuff doesn't allow like 100 proxies. So you do have to own some of the cards.
Another thing to chime in on that, personally, like I've been playing here since we started the proxy rule, and you know what our average attendance was when we were non-proxied? Was 4 people. 4. So we now are averaging like 20 to 30. So I would much rather play with those numbers than with 4. So
yeah, and
as big of an issue as playing with proxies is like to rage about on the internet, like I would much rather be more open towards the community in general than not. Now, granted, if I go to play a tournament for big prizes outside of a weekly, outside of a whatever, then yeah, I'm expecting it to be competitive REL. And then, like Rudy said, we can start talking about borrowing cards and loaning cards and all that stuff. But you have to have a community first. So that's
right. It's a great way to build a community, and not just that. Like, once people find a deck that they like and they really want to learn in Legacy, they're going to go out and they're going to buy those cards. And once they buy the cards, then they'll just own the cards that they need.
Yeah, which reminds me of how I originally got into Legacy, right? Like, I had been watching Legacy coverage for a long time, and I'd figured that, Shardless Book just seemed like, the deck that I wanted to start with. And I didn't really get the opportunity to test it at all, and I actually just bought into the whole deck. And that was like $3,000 at the time. And then, like, a couple months later, I just realized that, Shardless Bug wasn't the deck for me. And so it was just a pain because, I had invested so much into something that wasn't as, good for me as I think. So I think having the opportunity to, just play around, get exposure to things you normally wouldn't get to, because a lot of people don't even test Legacy that much. So these sorts of events are really the testing that they get into play. And, I mean, like, for this kind of event where they are testing all these new things, I think it's great for them to be able to, play with the cards that they normally wouldn't be able to. And like Kory said, when there's like a serious prize on the line, that's when I think you have to get serious and say, all right, we shouldn't allow proxies, for those kind of events.
Right, but something like store credit is not like a thing where you have to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to play against you because your, $200 volcanic island is, written on a piece of paper.
So we see the tropical island in Jameson's deck. Does that does that usually indicate Abrupt Decay, or is the one of Tropical Island and the Grixis Delver deck pretty stable?
It means that he definitely has Deathrite Shaman in his deck.
Okay, so it's there mostly to support the option of gaining life with Deathrite Shaman. Cool. So anyways, going back to the game, let's see. This Rest in Peace on is pretty good. I mean, like, we're looking at Swire Beatdown, and I really just want to see it get all the way. Seems like Sarah has the next Soul Land to recover. And this Chalice on 1 is probably going to be a problem.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jameson kind of blew his Wasteland a little bit too early on the City of Traders. I think we might have better choices, and since City of Traders can't last that much longer, I think it's better to keep our Wasteland around for something else that we need.
And interesting enough, we saw Jameson miss his second land drop, right? And the Deathrite Shamans are actually turned off because of the Rest in Peace. So there's actually like a lot of utility in that Wasteland, having it available to cast what seems to be like the true name Nemesis in his hand. I guess maybe Jameson's actually just committing to this 1-2 beatdown.
Right. What actually would have been interesting, if he didn't Wasteland in that spot, he could have cast both Dazes in his hand. He could have used the alternate cost to bounce the Tropical Island, and then use the Tropical Island in the Wasteland to also cast Daze on the Chalice and get rid of the Chalice altogether.
So the thing is, though, that if he didn't Wasteland, then I think she would have had 5 mana in play.
Oh, that's fair. Oh, now a Trinisphere here is going to be a ton of trouble. Jameson's going to have to Daze here. And we're really going to have to hope here that attacking for 2 here with our Deathrite Shamans for a few turns is going to get there, and Ancient Tomb is definitely helping. Yeah, and because we still have another Daze in our hand, we're also safe right now if she plays, if Sarah were to play a Moat off of another Plains.
Right, and I think we also, the Spell Pierce is dead, right?
Yeah, Spell Pierce is uncastable because of Chalice of the Void.
So Sarah's actually at 5. I mean, she doesn't really have that much time left, right? Because slowly her one of her lances is going to get turned off. And, I mean, are we really going to see 1-2 beatdown get there?
We just might. This is definitely one of the awkward parts of a deck like Sarah's, is that sometimes you have all these prison and lock pieces, but you don't really have anything to really attack or defend yourself with. And
what did Chromax exile? Exalted Angel. So you spent 3 mana to play Chromax. Okay.
I'm sorry, it's funny.
I just had to make sure that was what happened.
it looks here that at 3, Sarah's fallen behind pretty quickly, and she drew Suppression Field, so if Jameson were to draw a fetch land for the Young Pyromancer in his hand, he wouldn't even be able to use it. And a Force of Will
here. I think Jameson has,
that,
a couple Force of Wills too, so it's probably sealed, like, wrapped up.
Well, not really. Force of Will he can't cast because of Trinisphere. He needs that 3rd land to do that.
Great point.
Oh, and it looks like Sarah has an Exalted Angel.
Oh yes, that is not a lifelink creature. I forgot about that. That has triggered life gain. Oh my goodness.
Right. So it it
So
actually
that means she'll be at 0 with the gain 4 trigger on the stack.
right.
Wow. I got to give it to Jameson here. Just like standing ovation. We did it. We did it, team.
Wow. Yeah. Squires for life.
It looks like a 1-2 is good enough.
So normally, Grixis Delver plays with Stifles. I don't know if you guys saw Dylan Donegan's Grixis Delver list that he won the SCG Classic in Classic with in what was it, Cleveland or Cincinnati?
In
Wherever it was.
Cincinnati this last weekend.
Yeah, and he chose not to play any Stifles. Instead, of like before, I think it was like a Vendilion Click and a couple spell pieces amongst other options.
Because you were dead anyway. Yeah.
It's definitely going to see interesting if Jameson or Sarah wants to make any changes to their deck going forward. Now, what's interesting here is a card like Armageddon might be very good against a Delver deck, but if Jameson gets ahead on board, Armageddon might be one of the worst cards. So it's definitely one of those 90-10 cards in Sarah's deck that sometimes is great and is sometimes just real bad.
Right, and I think being on the play will make a huge difference here for Sarah. Being able to cast, things like Chalice of the Void on turn 1 before any threats get into play, or Suppression Field before fetch lands get into play, or, maybe even like a Chrome Mox into a Trinisphere, those kind of things. Like being on the play is when these Stompy decks typically shine.
All right, Jameson said he's going to try. It looks like he has a pretty land-heavy hand with a Delver, and it looks like an Ancient Grudge.
Well, yeah, there's a Lightning Bolt in there as well. Ancient Grudge is pretty good. Is that double Wasteland in his hand? I can't really see.
Yeah, he definitely has double Wasteland in his hand. I'm very interested to see what he's going to go ahead and do here.
So Sarah's on a mulligan to 6. I actually think this hand that Jameson has is going to get there. I don't know if he has a red source just yet, but...
Yeah, it looks like his hand is Underground Sea, Flutterstrand, Wasteland, Bolt, Delver, Ancient Grudge, and now he also has a Daze. So it looks like he's going to fetch for Volcanic here and play Delver. And it looks like when Jameson was going through his deck, it looks like he had Sulfuric Vortex. So if he tries to get ahead, he can try to use his advantage. Press any advantage he might have. I bet Sarah wishes she had a Suppression Field and a Chrome Mox for turn 1. Rest in peace here. I'll be interested to see if Jameson goes ahead and dazes this, but I actually don't think he needs to here. It's tempting with an Ancient Grudge in our hand to daze, but I think we might have better targets. All right,
I don't think Ancient Grudge can... Oh, yeah. So, the thing is, the reason I wouldn't daze here is because in this situation, the beauty about these Delver decks is that they can function on so many different axes, right? So like you have one axis of this Delver sequence which comes in play early and just swings in for a bunch of damage, you protect it, hopefully win the game. But at the same time, you play other powerful cards like Deathrite Shaman, which instead of just attacking directly, you go about in a different way from in winning the game. And that's the thing about a card like Rest in Peace is that it doesn't it it doesn't answer everything that Delver can bring to the table. It only answers rather like a certain percentage of it, and so it's like an alignment issue. Like like last game we saw Sarah had this Rest in Peace for double Deathrite Shaman, and it was really doing some good work against the Deathrite Shamans. But in this situation, right, Rest in Peace doesn't really do anything against the game plan of Delver of Secrets beatdown, right? And so
Right.
I wonder if you just hold the days instead for something a bit more threatening, like this suppression.
Right. It's also interesting to note that he had Dark Confidant in his hand when he decided to daze. So had he not dazed, he could have played Dark Confidant and still had daze mana up. It looks like Sarah here is just waiting until she gets to 4 mana. It looks like he drew Polluted Delta Wasteland with his Dark Confidant. Unfortunately, both of those cards are going to be kind of hard to to make use out of with Suppression Field, but given a couple more turns, we'll be able to do something with them.
I mean, this is a 2-turn clock we have. This is I don't even know if we're going to get to the point where.
Well, Sarah's at 11, so she does have a couple turns.
Well, Jameson also has the Lightning Bolt in his hand, right?
Yes, that is true. It looks like Sarah drew City of Traders. Let's see what she's gonna go ahead and do here.
Right.
It looks like she's gonna morph an Exalted Angel.
I wonder what that card is.
I'll give you a hint. It's Exalted Angel. What does Exalted Angel's morph cost?
That's 2.
It's 2 white. Unfortunately, it's gonna get bolted here, but that's good for Sarah because it gives her at least another turn. Oh, and it looks like this Dark Confidant here might just lock up the game for Jameson unless Sarah finds something like Moat here. And as I said,
what's interesting is that Jameson chooses not to wasteland the City of Traders.
Well, he couldn't. It costs 3.
And the Desperation Armageddon met by the Merciless Days, so Jameson still has, he's able to protect one of his lands.
That is certainly true, but Sarah being dead on board is certainly not helpful. Yeah, and this is what I said is what I was alluding to. Well, not what I alluded to directly. What I said was Armageddon is one of those cards that it's just definitely a 90-10. Where in this case, or she was just falling behind, Armageddon was real bad. But in that case, if she untapped and played a Moat or an Exalted Angel and then cast Armageddon the following turn, then she would have been very far ahead in her matchup against Jameson.
How many Armageddons did you have in your hand? 3. You had 3. Okay, yep. Confirmed for 3 Armageddons.
That is certainly
the first Armageddon is great. I guess the second and third ones are a little bit less great. What do you call that in Magic? Diminishing returns?
Yes.
That's pretty brutal.
So this is a pretty sweet sideboard strategy that Jameson has of the Dark Confidants in the sideboard. I remember in GP Seattle Tacoma, Saito had this really sweet Bug Delver deck boarding 4 Dark Confidants.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's a 2-mana creature, so it doesn't get countered by Chalice.
That makes sense. All right, I'm gonna run around the room real quick, see if game's going to game 3. I'll be right back, you guys.
Awesome. We'll see if we can get some more matches. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate it. We're at round 2 of 3 of our Legacy tournament here. If you guys haven't already, follow us below. You'll turn on notifications. You'll see when we go live. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, I believe it is in the middle at Snapcasters2U. So if you want to follow us all to see when we also go live on Twitter, you're more than welcome to do that. If you want to follow Anuurag or myself on Twitter, we'll post our Twitter stuff in the chat. But we hope you guys like what you're listening to and like what you're seeing. If you guys have any suggestions for changes, feel free to let us know, and we'll be more than happy to take everything into consideration.
Yeah, so the cool thing about Dark Confidant, I find, is that it gives you something that you don't typically have in a Delver deck, and that is card advantage, right? Like, most Delver decks are so geared on the tempo plan where, card advantage isn't, like that much of a priority. And then suddenly, post-board, you just come out of the gates with, like, this huge influx of must-answer cards. Like, especially, so I usually think of Magic, or Legacy at least, in terms of miracles, right? And Dark Confidant is one of the scariest creatures I can see, on the other side of the table, because it just gives my opponent more cards, which means more options, which means just like more things to control, more things to do. And I mean, when you take this and you apply it in context of everything else, I guess the fact that it gives you more cards and gives you more options is just invaluable. And the fact that it can also just beat down is huge, like we saw there, right? It sped up the clock from what was it, 3 or 5 or 6 turns to 2 or 3 turns or whatever it was. The alternative to Dark Confidant could be something like Painful Truths, I suppose, which is starting to catch on in Legacy.
Do you guys want to play a sideboard game? Okay. All right, guys, we got a new match for you.
Beautiful. I like these cards that I'm seeing on the left side of the screen.
Is that Hawker?
Sure is.
Is this an actual backup match, or did they finish already?
They've already finished, but this is just for funsies. But they're sideboarding.
I see Garrick Wildspeaker Relentless on the other side, so I have to assume this is Aggro Loam versus Miracles.
That card's awesome.
That's my guess.
This is the worst card in the deck.
That card is amazing in this matchup, dude. You don't even know.
This is the worst card.
You know how many chases I've killed with my Dryad Arbor? You know how many?
That's cool.
A lot. A lot.
I don't know who Kory's talking to, but that person should remind Kory of the time he tried to play 4-color Loam against me playing Miracles.
Hey, that was one sit-down game, sir.
There were several sit-down games. Did you win any of them?
Probably not. Don, what's your last name? It's really breaking on it.
Wow. Macfarlane. Don't ask me how to spell it. Also, Facebook that shit. Macfarlane. I'm pretty sure it's Macfarlane.
Are you just saying stuff right now?
This is actually a really interesting matchup. Is the Miracles versus the 4-color Loam deck. I don't know if you have had a chance to play against this deck. Play against the 4-color Loam deck from the Miracles side yet, Anuurag?
I have, and it's miserable. It's so difficult.
It's like me and Mauler just playing and just both swearing a bunch.
What are some of the what do you think are some of the important things for Hawker to really do in this matchup?
Stop the turn 2 Dark Confidant, stop the turn 2 Sylvan Library, stop the turn 2 Chalice of the Void, stop the turn 2 Liliana. Pretty much stop everything.
Brakes on the hype train.
The way I see this matchup is that you have to the aggro Loam player just has this high density of really powerful / impactful spells that they can play early in the game thanks to acceleration in Mox Diamond and I guess Zenith for Arbor, and you just have to answer the first 3 cards or so because what happens is at least from my understanding of the deck from the Miracles side is Aggro Loam is like the power over consistency deck, and the longer the game goes, the less explosive the Aggro Loam deck is. So, I mean, like, if they get the turn 2 Chalice of the Void, right, that's crazy because for the rest of the game you can't cantrip, you can't top, you can't, remove any of their creatures. If they get the turn 2 Dark Confidant, they'll start, accelerating into those crazy threats. Similarly, Liliana is just really, really, really scary to deal with. And, backed by Punishing Fire and stuff like that, it just makes your ability to interact with whatever's already on the board much, much more difficult.
Now, my question is if you're playing Miracles and you're playing against this four-color Loam deck, this Aggro Loam deck, what are you more interested in using to try and kill your opponent? Are you trying to... would you rather try and use Mentor, or would you rather try and use Entreat the Angels?
So, from my experience, the way the game boils down is that... in the dark, the Miracles player is not going to necessarily have all the answers to the cards that Aggro will bring, right? So one of the threats will, slip through, like the permission, control, counterwall, whatever you want to call it. And when that happens, it sort of snowballs into the point, it snowballs to the point where a card like Mentor isn't really reliable because Mentor by itself is not that fantastic. You need a lot of resources alongside the Mentor, or you need the game to be in a very, very simplified state where both players are top decking and everything you top deck sort of just feeds into the Mentor I guess just as surplus value or whatever it is. And Aggro Loam is very good at preventing that kind of game state, right? Because they'll have their Lilianas to eat your hand. They'll have Chalice of the Void to stop your 1-drops, whatever it is. And so I really think Entreat the Angels is just the best way because it presents a lot of power on the board in one swift motion, and Aggro Loam doesn't have enough time to actually be able to interact.
Well, what was really interesting there is Hawker doesn't have a lot of cards really in his hand that are doing anything, yet he didn't elect to play his second or third counterbalance. And I actually do really like having a lot of permanence against a deck like Aggro Loam, because the more permanence you have, the harder it's going to be for them to deal with. And counterbalance sometimes can be really good here. And not playing our counterbalance when we didn't really have anything else going on in hand seems a little loose. Reclamation Sage here is great, and Hawker finds another land, which is just what he's looking for. I think what he really needs here from Don here is to kind of have a bunch of creatures, so his Supreme Verdict or his Terminus can kind of clean up afterwards. But I think putting the pressure on Don to find an answer for his counterbalance, every single turn for a few turns is better than sitting around and waiting for him to draw the answers. Force him to have it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so when I saw that his hand had triple counterbalance, I think that turn 3 play where he just did nothing was, it's weird because on the next turn, right, he had to tap mana and he had less mana available, whereas if he had done it the turn prior, he would have just had 2 extra mana on turn 4 to do stuff with, and that Sensei's Dividing Top was a sweet draw. And I think the reason you just keep jamming counterbalances is because you have 3 counterbalances in your opening hand, so your plan has to be to overload their Abrupt Decays. It's either that, or your plan is to draw into Brainstorms and ship them away, because if you're not casting them, then there's no reason for them to be in your hand. And I think if you overload the Abrupt Decays, Counterbalance's stock increases dramatically, just because it's going to stay on. It can reliably stay on the board, and you can find a 3-drop to put on top to counter Lilianas and Reliquaries, or 2-drop to stop Loam and Dark Confidant and all that sort of stuff.
Right. I also am starting to like Hawker's vision more and more as time goes on. With counterbalance in play, he's able to leverage any advantage he might have, or he might be able to gain, as well as potentially protect himself, where he can't really do that if he doesn't have counterbalance in play. I think if we had something going on in our hand, like a counterspell or a Vendilion Click, then it might be reasonable to not play counterbalance, but I think in this situation we kind of have to. Now that we have top and counterbalance and a fetch land and Supreme Verdict in hand, we're really looking for a brainstorm here to kind of reset our hand.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'm not a huge fan of leaving counterbalance in post board against Aggro Loam, but I won't lie, my experience with Aggro Loam is much more limited than it is in comparison to like the Mirror and Delver decks and stuff like that. And
it looks like Hawker's not going to even try to counter this, and it looks like Hawker has a Keranos on top of his deck.
Confirmed.
Yeah, Keranos is pretty good against Liliana at the Veil.
Yeah, for sure. I'm interested to see. It looks like he discarded one of his spare Terminuses here, and it looks like he's trying to see if maybe he can set up a land here so he can play Keranos and leave up a top. But it looks like he's just going to end up not going to try. Looks like Keranos is just way too good right here in this spot to really get rid of. And I do like Hawker looking for a plains here, because if his opponent, if he doesn't have a 2-drop on top of his deck for Loam, Loam can very easily just get 2 Wastelands back, and he can just get rid of both of his white sources, leaving Hawker really far behind.
I love Neeraj. That's how you gotta say it. Kranos. I am Neeraj.
And another Terminus down. Wow. How great is that Hawker winds up the Council's Judgment to counter the counterbalance, off the counterbalance to counter a Maelstrom Pulse.
That is awesome. Look at that heads up.
Wow. Wow.
That was beautiful. Get there, boys.
And I don't even think you draw the Council Judgment, right? You just keep it on top to stop Knight of the Reliquaries and Liliana's at the Veil. Or maybe the Chalice changes things.
Just threes it. Sir, that just threes it. It's still alive.
I'm getting your chalice. You think? Oh, that's what you're doing. No, it's not target. It's a vote. Go. He has the break.
Wow, it looks like he's going to Council Judgment away the Chalice of the Void, which I do like here. With Keranos, we're going to eventually find, especially with top 2, we're going to absolutely find a spell to get rid of the Liliana.
It is going to die anyway, but here's a rest in peace to make you die super hard.
And it looks like Hawker also has Rest in Peace here, so he's going to be able to get rid of this Liliana and then cast Rest in Peace and really put this game way out of reach for Don.
The answer is absolute.
Yeah, Keranos is just completely taking over this game.
Sure, man. Now we can find it. No, now we can find it. You got it, fam.
I hate you so much. I didn't care about any of the and they said fam, and it's like, just
You know, I could have been loaming this entire time, and I would have just like flipped all 3 of replicates in my yard.
Could have been attacking with Dryad Arbor for like infinity turns.
That card sucks. I boarded it out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, card's trash.
Why the hell did you board out Dryad Arbor? Oh my god.
We need to have.
Yeah, that is actually a good point here, that if he just left Dryad Arbor in his deck, he might have been able to kill Hawker at this point.
Exactly.
And now we see all the Dark Confidants. Wow.
That was an impressive
so much
Sylvan
better than Dryad
library.
Arbor, right?
Alright, so assuming I did 0 damage to you before, you're at.
You definitely bolted
Did
me.
you crack?
And it's taken 4, so you're at 5.
Oh, he paid 8?
You're at 5.
Hold on. What?
He's at 5 life. He paid 8
No.
off his silver
No,
life.
he is not
No,
at
he's
5.
at 5. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
No, he
All
was
it's-
at 22 before he cracked those 2 fetches.
No, he bolted me once. I was at 19. I'm gonna let
Yeah. He's
No, you redirected it to Lily. Or did
I
you?
bolted him once to the face.
Okay,
with the
so then he
force.
was at 17.
No, he took 8.
Okay, so then he's at 9.
Okay, fair.
All right, so that's so much different from the 8 that I was proposing.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying 5.
You are dying, my friend.
I'm getting
You
Let's
are
go.
dying.
This is very aggressive.
I'm so excited.
And Chris Hawker seems to have no mercy here. Just going straight for the face.
Here we go.
Library.
Here we go.
It's my turn still.
Let's go Dark
Library.
Confidant.
I can't put the thing.
No.
Big man. Be a man.
But
Swing for more.
I'll brainstorm a response.
Okay.
Pass Spencer. Bounce.
Library. Deal.
Bounce top to my hand.
Sure.
Okay. No blocks. No blocks.
Slow down on Bill.
All right. Yeah, I know it's not. Look, it's swords, right?
I'm not gonna lie though. Whenever I win against Aggro Loam, which is not very often, I do feel this ecstatic.
I'm gonna deluge you with 12.
Oh my God. What in God's name?
only has 5 tokens.
Best game. So I don't even know how to commentate on what the hell just happened.
I wouldn't worry too much about it.
We figured it
Matrimonial
out though.
bliss.
No, we're not. We're saving that card out.
We knew the end result. Yeah, it's like the drink.
Sorry if the viewers actually wanted like serious Magic.
Oh no, they were eating it up, man. That was awesome.
I'm really hoping Broken Rooks right now like it's joined the fray. Yo, I want to go like I need to cancel turn 2.
I'm gonna give you 9 game wins for that,
Deal, got it.
but Hawker's gonna get 10.
I mean, he won the game, so it's fair.
Oh, I fucked up the
Both
numbers.
our voice next thing. How do you feel about Glistener up on the board? Glistener up on the board? Dude, I think that seems strong.
Alright, so if you play Chalice on turn 1, then I'm dead. But other than that, yeah, we're going to game 5. What?
You heard the man. They're going to game 5.
You probably snapped that hand off.
I snapped the shit out of this.
What?
I'll be sad.
Alright.
Yes.
That happened.
Sometimes you just gotta play cycle hand taps.
Let's do it on turn 2 instead. Oh, so good. Go ahead. That was so good this game.
It's still good, even on turn 2.
It's actually insane.
That last game was actually their 4th game.
Third game, you got it too well. Don't give me too much credit.
Oh.
Yeah,
was
so
it?
actually, like you see, like Rudy in this situation, Chalice of the Void is actually pretty decent.
Go.
Oh yeah, Chalice is obviously great against the deck with a bunch of 1 drops in it. Too many things are just so good, and Hawker's playing Ponder in his deck too, so he has Ponder, Brainstorm, Top, Plow.
And this is a pretty sick combination. Gaddock Teague plus Chalice of the Void does turn off all removal spells except for, I think, what is it, Council's Judgment?
Caracas.
Venser.
And it'll be 20 again in a week. That's on the board.
Oh yeah, Venser and Caracas, yep.
When you casting Theranos, bro?
Also, Snapcaster Mage block is a really good way to kill it.
Yeah, I think if you're playing Aggro Loam versus Miracles, like at the highest level, right, you don't usually attack into Snapcaster Mage because Gaddock Teague is just so powerful against the Miracles deck. Drawing the wear tear to get rid of the Chalice of the Void is the first step to getting back into the game, but he's going to need like a lot more pieces than just that.
Chalice at 0, or Chalice at 1. That's the hope. Chalice at 1, and hope say Chalice at 0. I'm like, there's no way he can actually win out of this, right? He goes tanks, casts Burning Wish, goes and gets Shattered Swing, which is good, right? Except he can't possibly kill all 3 of the Chalices, so I think I'm pretty good. He kills the Chalice at 0, and then goes quad LED, casts Burning Wish.
I'm at
Like snowing, yeah.
What are life points right now?
I'm at 13.
You know what's interesting is actually I think Chris's plan right now is just Theranos, right?
Go to 11.
So that is a creature spell.
It is indeed a creature spell.
Okay. All right. Ow. Wow.
Go.
Owie wowie.
And so the reason he can cast Keranos is because what Kory said. You know, Keranos is a creature spell. Other cool things that you can do with Keranos, you can play Cavern of Souls on God to make it uncounterable. Keranos also is unaffected by Thalia.
You know what my actual favorite line is with Keranos? I was playing it as a 1-of in the sideboard for Reanimator against Death and Taxes because you can actually reanimate it with Containment Priest in play, and it comes into play and then bolt the Containment Priest.
That is awesome. Actually, I was playing on Moto once, and my opponent did the same thing against me after I boarded out all my white spells. No Council's Judgment, no outs to an onboard Keranos, and Moto exiled the Keranos, which was hilarious.
Oh, that is awkward.
My opponent was really salty.
That is so awkward.
Liliana's fine. I'm going to discard double Terminus again like I did last game.
So what are you down to 9?
I'm down to 9.
Okay.
Upkeep spin.
I was asked that, so
Still
I
enough
really
heat.
don't know. Like some like
Draw top. Reveal top. Quote your friend. Fetch. Go to 8. Wear the chalice. Replay the top. You know the deal, man. Jerk my dick. Am I just dead though? I'm at 8, 7. No, I'm not. Yeah, because you can get 3 in the land, 3 in the yard this turn. Swing for 5. Activate, get a fetch land, and then use the. Assume that you play like a. Oh, never mind. I won't. Spin. That is the plan. Go ahead. See if you could go fetch that Triad armor. Yep, all these things.
What is he at? What are you at, 8?
I'm at 8.
Oh, shoot.
He can 5 me.
He can 6 you if he gets
6 me if he
Wasteland.
plays another land.
Oh, wait. So.
Ooh, it's in! 7 me if he can play another land. Here we go. Getting spicy today.
I guess it doesn't make a difference if you get Wasteland or Triad Arbor. Oh wait, no. It's +1 if you get Wasteland.
Oh! If he has 2 lands, he can play it and plus it.
No, if he plays Wasteland, I think you're...
I'm at 8, so I'm actually reasonably close to being dead.
5, 6. Yeah, if you have Wasteland, you win. I mean, if he doesn't have swords.
I'm so
Dang.
good, guys. We're in it to win it. No blocks. No effects. So it's that 6. Yep, go to 6. Do the thing. Spin the top. Did you not want to plus the Lily?
No, I already did.
Oh, you did. Yeah, I got you.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. There is hardware being mailed in right now to help out with the camera shaking. I think maybe in the next stream or the one after that, it should be in and should help with the camera stabilization.
Yeah, to help clarify, the rig that we're using right now to hold the camera is resting on the table, so any shaking on the table transfers to the camera. So they've been space jamming and slamming the table pretty hard, but we have a new boom mic coming in that's going to hold the camera, a new rig. It's not going to be coming in until Wednesday. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have it by the time for tomorrow's stream. But the tables at Curio are pretty good, so hopefully it'll be stable. What did Karanos reveal anything?
He revealed Benson when I shot his Strider.
Oh, okay. I'm totally not going to be able to pronounce your name, but thanks for the follow.
And Kory, do we have round time until the next match?
Turns was called a while ago, but this match is for Funzies.
I got you, yep. This is pretty interesting. Don just needs to draw Punishing Fire and he could win the game. I don't know if he left any copies in. Punishing Fire is not at its best against Miracles. Maybe one copy to deal with stragglers like Vidalian Click Fencer, Monastery Mentor as well.
So I normally leave in one copy for killing Planeswalkers or the sideboard Mentors. If I don't see any Mentors in the main, if I do see Mentors, I leave 2 in.
What's interesting is that Chris decided to bounce the Knight of the Reliquary instead of just destroying it with Supreme Verdict. I guess that symbolizes he is either trying to get value out of the Verdict, that he feels he's comfortable, stabilized, and won't die from whatever Don has, such that he can actually wait to extract that value. Yeah, I'm not sure if there was really anything to gain by casting that Venser, because now, we're seeing he could have had the Venser for the Knight here.
So am I, boys.
Oh, and Jace the Might Sculptor. Strong draw.
Punishing Fire and I'm still dead.
Skill game. Oh, right. Sorry, I gotta do the match. I'll be right back.
That was just savagery after savagery for like 4 turns. It's in there to make people salty, and it's doing its job. What's up? You got it 2-0 like an hour ago.
I did tell him that. I reported, so I don't know what the story is, but I reported. This is actually a pretty fun matchup. It 2 because he top decked, what, the 1 punishing fire left? Strong.
Was that actually game 3 or game 7?
That was game 4. I won 3. I think it was sweet though.
Chris,
Like,
do you have extra counterbalances so I can play that for you deck?
I don't have any extra counterbalances.
I don't even want to get this card because I like want top to be banned. Well, like I should just play Miracles.
Good thing Jameson doesn't make bans. They should be in top.
They should be in top.
Rory,
Just ban counterbalance. They could ban brainstorm, but that just doesn't like ban counterbalance. That crowd's trash. You ban top.
You ban counterbalance. But if Jeff plays counterbalance, none of them. You can still play Miracle without counterbalance.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Do not play top slowly. That's the whole reason to get rid of it.
We got a spicy feature match.
I love the spice.
I love your spice.
I'm a fan of spice.
That's so sweet.
Maybe not Anuurag spice, but you know.
Oh yeah, baby.
How's that going?
Bad. Real bad.
Plus, I savaged myself by killing myself with a daily. Yo, are we in the feature match? I mean, we're both 0-2, so we're in the feature match, right?
You're 0-2?
What?
Yeah.
No.
I can see it. Yeah. But we're still in the feature match.
I love your hat so much. Oh my god. As soon as I saw it, I just immediately thought of you, and I was like,
Why is Rory sitting down in the feature match? Not Lance.
huh?
Are we feature matching?
No, it's Rory versus Mauler.
Why? Like, this is a great matchup. We're both 0-2. Well, I'm 0-2.
Let's see more
Bad Aggro.
Are you on lands?
Oh. So my name has.
Did I misspell it?
Yeah, there's an extra E before the Y.
There is?
Yeah, take out that. Take out the E's before the Y.
Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah, like that.
All right. Someone told me wrong then.
All right, so Rory's playing Red Green Lands. There's a good chance that with New Brew, it might mean he's playing Kurt's version, which means he has Flame Jab and Molten Vortex in the main deck over Punishing Fire and Grave of the Burn Rollers.
Actually, Rudy, I think the Flame Jab was in the sideboard.
He definitely had one in the sideboard. I think he might have had one in the main deck as well, and he had 4 Taigas as well, which is definitely a deviation from normal lands, which has just 2. What is interesting here is we're getting to watch him play against Mauler, and Mauler's playing Shardless Bug, and the matchup for Shardless is horrendous. It is not very good. Lands is heavily favored against a deck like Shardless Bug. It doesn't really have a fast clock. Its Planeswalkers aren't very devastating in any way, and they only have 2 Wastelands, so they can't really keep lands off balance. And as Anuurag and I were talking earlier at the start of the stream, was Shardless has a very weak mana base generally, especially if you fetch for 2 basics early, which you pretty much have to do against the lands deck. It's just going to push you back so far you might not be able to come back.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for the Shardless Bug player to win, well, I mean, listen, what's the reason that, Shardless Bug is not that great against red-green lands to begin with? Well, they don't really have an efficient way to deal with the combo, right? Like, outside of Wasteland. Once 2020 is in play, it's probably just not going to get off the table unless there's, like, a Baleful Strix to chump block it and then a Liliana to tick down. And on top of that, right, because the mana costs in the Shardless Bug deck are so intensive, really need to get your duels out earlier than you'd like to, against other decks or whatever. And that makes you vulnerable to Wasteland, Rishadan Fort, all the mana denial that lands is going to be playing. So for Shardless Bug to actually win, what are some of the cards that we need to see in the opening hand? I think Deathrite Shaman.
One thing we're really going to want is we're going to want a Deathrite Shaman. That's definitely the first thing that we want. But interestingly enough, we also want a Force of Will. Force of Will is actually Shardless with a Force of Will and a Deathrite Shaman can actually hold your opponent down. You can actually Force of Will their Punishing Fire or their Loam and use Deathrite to take care of it, and you really need to do that to leverage any advantage that you might be able to gain. Using Deathrite Shaman is obviously just, in general, a very good card against a deck like lands. But you need a way to protect it. In this case, Force of Will is really your best opportunity because a card like Thoughtseize or Hymn to Torok really isn't going to do it for you.
And Wasteland is another thing that can interact with the combo. How is Hymn to Torok in this matchup?
Hymn to Torok is pretty mediocre. You really want targeted discard because on turn 1 you really want to be able to hit their Mox Diamond to slow them down, or you want to hit an Exploration, where Hymn to Torok doesn't really do that for you. Because a deck like Lands uses their graveyard as an extension of their hand, that it is very difficult for them to really utilize that effectively. Now, what's really interesting here is Rory is pushing his Riftstone portal to the graveyard with crop rotation in order to cast Life from the Loam to get his Dark Depths back. Or I guess he's getting Thespian Stage. Yep, he's using crop rotation to get Thespian Stage, and then using Life from the Loam to get back Dark Depths. Now, this is a pretty slow start compared to the start that we saw Neeraj have in round 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason the Thespian Stage is able to tap for mana is because with Riftstone Portal in the yard, all the lands in play additionally have the ability to tap for green or white.
I believe you mean tap for green mana to cast Exploration.
Yeah.
It looks like Rory's plan there was to cast Exploration off of the Thespian Stage, and using the floating colorless mana from Riftstone Portal, play a second land and cast Life from the Loam. But a Force of Will on Exploration kind of stymied that. It looks like Rory just has another Exploration here. Let's see if Mauler has anything.
That is masterful. Yeah, one really cool thing that I learned like this past week is that Riftstone Portal actually trumps Blood Moon.
Yes.
And yeah, this is the situation we're talking about right now. Just like Steve has not really been able to interact with what Rory has, and I mean, Shardless Bug is also just so fair of a deck that like all the cheesiness that's going on in terms of playing multiple land drops a turn, assembling a 2020, all that sort of stuff. Steve just doesn't have like a great way to interact with it. And I'm looking at his hand right now, and I think he has another Force of Will in his hand, but without a blue card to pair with it, which is why he was unable to counter the second Exploration.
What's really interesting here is Rory is electing to to not leave up mana for his combo.
Actually, he does have mana for it because the Dark Depths can tap mana.
Well, he needs does he need 2 plus the stage?
Right, yeah, you can tap the Dark Depths for green or white.
Didn't he only have Depths, Stage, Wasteland up? Or did I miss something?
That's enough. You tap the Dark Depths for mana in Waste. And then
right. Okay, that makes sense.
It works.
I missed that. That's my bad. Magic's hard.
A, B, C.
Agreed.
Easy as 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, but this is like this is such a bad matchup for Shardless because unless you have like a really quick aggressive start, then with Disruption backup, you're in a ton of trouble. That's why a deck like Delver might have a better chance against a deck like Lands, because you have threats that are that are very good, like Delver and Deathrite Shaman and Tarmogoyf, but they're also cheap and they're also effective, and you also have Disruption like Daze and Spell Pierce and Force of Will, and you have a ton of draw on your deck. Shardless is kind of like this mid-rangey slow deck that takes a little while to get going, and when it does get going, even then, like, it just tries to overwhelm you with card advantage. And Red-Green Lands just works much faster than Shardless does. So it's kind of hard for Shardless to outgrind a deck like Lands.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you just look at how Steve is sideboarding, he's bringing in meddling mages and that sort of stuff as just a way to shut down things like Life in the Loam, Punishing Fire, maybe even weird things like Exploration. Mr. Rocket, this is a little bit different from your normal Lands deck. The normal Lands build relies on Punishing Fire and Grove of the Burn Willows as its primary method of main deck removal, but I think Kurt's piece last week we saw showed us a deck that removed the Punishing Fire engine and instead replaced the empty slots with Molten Vortex and Flame Jab, also adding in extra Taigas to just fix out the mana a little bit better. What's going to be really cool in this matchup, I think is really relevant, is that Flame Jab. Didn't Kurt mention something about Flame Jab being able to beat a Deathrite Shaman on the stack?
Yes, it can. So basically, the way it works is because Flame Jab is a sorcery, you get to maintain priority. So because you get to maintain priority, you can cast Flame Jab, and then once it resolves, you can then cast it again, and it's no longer in the graveyard. It's now on the stack. So Deathrite Shaman doesn't have a space in between then to exile it.
And I think the thing to take away from this is that when you cast Flame Jab, it's not in the graveyard and it's on the stack. So Deathrite Shaman cannot activate to remove it. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. So basically, as long as you hold priority and you have 2 lands in your hand, or you have a Flame Jab and then a land in your hand, they don't really have an opportunity. Because you get priority first, they don't get a chance to actually remove it, as long as you maintain priority. So that's a really interesting part about that. You just even after you gamble too, you still maintain priority after gamble resolves. So even if it's in the graveyard, you still maintain the priority to go ahead and still get to cast Flame Jab. So that's really, really good. And Flame Jab is obviously a pretty solid card against a bunch of X1s. Which, even though Mauler doesn't have, it does give him a lot. It would give him a lot of opportunities to against like a deck like Death and Taxes to clear out a lot of creatures in one shot.
Oh god, and we have another double exploration start. Steve has the turn 1 Deathrite, so maybe that's the first piece you're going to need to pull out a win. But looking at these 2 explorations, I don't know, it's not that great.
Hey, if you guys want to post on the chat your guys' Twitch or Twitter handle, or wherever else we could find you guys somewhere before we wrap up tonight.
Yeah, sure. We'll probably post them closer to the end after all the matches are done.
Oh, I totally just realized I didn't up route and count. Yeah, we're in the last round right now. That's why.
And I think this is also a really good step for Rory to kind of take out what Steve's doing. Is Port can really put a lot of pressure on your lands, and when you're trying to operate at mostly sorcery speed, which Shardless Bug does, operates almost entirely on sorcery speed, trying to really do any damage is very difficult.
And so here, if you're Rory, do you end up turning Rishadan Port the Polluted Delta?
I think so. Because if you draw it looks like Mauler's just going to go ahead and do it for him, but basically there's no reason for you not to, It's a free tap for you, and you get to force him to fetch, and then if you draw like a Wasteland or something, you get to untap and then use that to your advantage. Basically, you'd rather force him to use it then, so during his upkeep, you can port both of his lands since we have 2 ports. And it looks like Mauler has a Scrubland in his deck.
Yeah, the Scrubland is for Meddling Mage.
Now, what's interesting there is Mauler decided to go ahead and play a Baleful Strix, but it doesn't look like he has another blue card in his hand. And this is one of the other weird things about Shardless Bug is you're definitely a blue mid-range deck, but you don't really have a lot of blue cards for Force of Will. And if you guys missed that, during the end step, Rory used one of his stages to copy a port, so he can try and basically port Mauler out while he's looking for his looking for a combo piece.
And one thing that I want to mention is that while it seems like Rory is actually like in control, right? I mean, he's denying Steve of all the land, and that's where you want to be in the land's position. I mean, the clock is still real from the Shardless Bug side. Tarmogoyf is just getting bigger and bigger, and with what mana he has, Steve is adding to the board.
Well, actually, what's interesting here is Goyf is actually getting smaller and smaller. Goyf was a 1/2. And now with that last land removed from Mauler's side, Goyf is now 0/1.
That is a good point.
And what's nice for Rory to do here is one of the things we were kind of talking about last week was with Port, he can actually tap one of Mauler's lands, and then as Mauler moves into his draw step, tap another land, and this prevents him from being able to utilize his mana efficiently, or being able to use his mana as he wants. Forcing him to play on your terms means that Mauler's going to have a real tough time trying to come back from this game.
But the way the game looks right now, Rory is still struggling to find that critical piece to sort of cinch out the game.
Right, and something like Life from the Loam here is not going to be enough. Mazavith is obviously great here, unless Mauler decides he wants to kind of get in with everyone. But I don't think attacking here with both of your Deathrite Shamans is good, because now if Rory were to draw something, he would be able to make use of like Life from the Loam or Flame Jab or Punishing Fire or any one of those items. So I don't think, although I like getting in some damage here, I don't think attacking with both of your Deathrite Shamans is necessary.
And it seems like
sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it seems like he's copied the Maze of It with that stage to sort of suppress the amount of damage he's taking every turn.
Yeah, the original maze is still on port. The new maze is on, or I'm sorry, the new stage is on maze.
All right, and Rory's writing it pretty big for the viewers at home, and that's really appreciative. Now, I'm not sure if I see this, but it looks like he drew Dark Depths, and I was right. So now Mauler's in a pretty interesting spot because he has to leave his Baleful Strix back, but Baleful Strix is only going to prevent it for one turn. Mauler really needs something big here to kind of push through what Rory has.
Yeah, I think he needs to draw a Wasteland at this point.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part is Wasteland's actually not even good here. Because even if he tries to Wasteland the Depths, he has enough mana that he can just try to copy it again.
That's true, and also there's Rishad on port to force the Wasteland, which would then you can just copy the stage in response to that too.
All right, and Mauler here pulsed both explorations to kind of make his Goyf a little bit bigger. But right now, I don't think he can afford to really... I mean, he has to attack here, but what's actually really interesting here is that depending on what Mauler drew, he might be able to force Rory into getting a Merit Lage token into play and then casting Liliana. But it looks like Rory's just going to wait till the end step to go ahead and try and take care of that.
Right, and that's a good heads-up play, understanding that Liliana is one of the few ways for, Merit Lodge to leave the board, and not necessarily putting yourself in a position where it is prone to that.
It looks like Rory here is just looking for Flame Jab or a Molten Vortex to put this Baleful Strix out of the way.
And I don't think you found it, so Steve might get another draw step.
And Steve has a draw step now. He needs to find something like Jace. He needs to find something like Liliana, but unfortunately for him, Mauler having 2 Deathrite Shamans means Port here is not going to be enough to keep him off of either of those options. So we'll see what Mauler's draw step yields him and see if he can get anything going. What I really like here is Rory just used a really old trick. Because his creature is still attacking, even though damage already happened, because his creature was technically still attacking, he was able to use Maze of Ith to effectively untap to give his Merit Lage token Vigilance.
And I think, so here we see Steve using the Deathrite Shaman to exile an instant in response to the Richardon port, which is a risky move because I'm guessing he had the yellow land in his hand, but if he didn't, he would not be able to draw into like Jace the Mind Sculptor, for example, to balance the token. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if I see an answer in Steve's hand for the 2020. So
is it possible that Mauler went ahead? It looks like he doesn't have anything. He was just giving him a chance to mess up, and Rory decided that he was going to attack, and Mauler's dead. Yep, and this is what I was talking about. You can see based on just the 2 games we see, this is not unexpected when you're playing lands against Shardless.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like all the interaction was either like, I mean, too slow or just like not good enough, right? Like the Baleful Strix like interaction that I can block for a turn, but that's not really good. The Maelstrom Pulse is a turn 3 play at the latest, maybe turn 2 if you get lucky, but by that time I feel like Exploration has just put Rory really far ahead. I don't know. It seems like it's really rough for Shardless Bug, and you have to have a lot more hate, like weird things like Surgical Extraction and things like cards like that, basically.
Right. So, all right. I guess we're gonna see if we have one more match for you guys tonight, and then.
Actually, I didn't want to cut you guys off there. We're actually probably gonna. I'm like struggling just to stay awake right now. I think I actually gonna call it.
Nope. That sounds great.
So closing statements. You guys want to go first? If you got any, like how can we follow you guys if we want to get up with you guys on social networks?
I put my Twitter into the chat, so feel free to follow me on Twitter at It's So Bza. If you click on my name, it actually gives you an option to follow my stream. Generally, I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'll be streaming on this Thursday coming up. I decided to take this Tuesday off because I wanted to do some commentary with Kory and Anuurag.
Much appreciated commentary. You guys are awesome as always.
Yeah, and likewise, I put my Twitch in the chat as well. Come watch me play Miracles sometimes. Teach me how to play better. Always up for that. And yeah, it was just great commentating participating again. It's always fun, and this is a new experience. I get to learn a lot of just about like thinking things out, and I hope everyone else is learning stuff too.
Yep, and if you guys want, I also write articles for mtgcardmarket.com. So those come out every Thursday. So if you're ever interested in knowing what I'm writing about, sometimes people tell me that I write decent articles. So if you're interested in reading something new, I'll have an article out every Thursday.
I like them. What can you give us any hints about what this one's going to be about?
Oh, it's about our new Tron overlords in Modern.
Strong. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, it's bad. I basically the article is kind of talking about Tron and like how Tron is now just I'm pretty sure it's just the best deck in Modern, and it's just so resilient and just talking about like different ways you can go about beating it.
So is it wrong to be Tron?
No. What are they gonna do? You just
Beat it,
fulminate or
join
mage
it.
them once, and then they just like find another piece, and then they cast Karn, and then you're dead. Or you like cast Blood Moon, and then they just on turn 7 they just cast Karn, and then they kill you, and then you're dead. Or they just cast Ulamog, and then they exile 2 of your permanents, and then you're dead.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to reading it then, Rudy.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, and thank you, Rudy Anuurag. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. I really appreciated you guys' help. And commentary.
Anytime.
As always, you guys are veteran, to-be veteran commentators. You guys have a really natural knack for it. Thanks again, everybody, the viewers at home or on mobile or what have you. Thanks for hanging out with us, interacting with us in chat. Depending on how I'm feeling tomorrow, like if I don't go to work, there may not be a stream tomorrow because I'm going to be in Alexandria for work tomorrow. If I'm feeling okay, I do not know. Sorry, I have to stopping to breathe. I have to stop talking to breathe every now and then because I can't breathe through my nose right now.
Not a problem, man. Feel better.
Thanks.
Yeah, please get better.
Yeah, I really hope I get better. I've been like pounding some Dayquil, and I'll be pounding some NyQuil later tonight. So hopefully, come tomorrow, I'll be up and at 'em, and we can get some more Legacy coverage from Curio Cavern tomorrow. If not, regardless of what happens tomorrow, I'll probably be streaming the Legacy FNM up at my brain HQ Games Friday night. And actually, I think they're bumping up the time this weekend, 8 p.m. So come check it out. Come in person if you're in the area. And then do not forget, mark the calendar. This Sunday is a Winamax tournament at MTG First / Squabbles. They're located in Glen Burnie, Maryland also. So they're right up the road from me. So are you guys, you said you were coming to that, Rudy? Are you coming on, Rog?
Yeah, I do expect to be there. Hopefully I can run back another good performance.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. I talked to Paul to see if Paul could maybe lend me some land stuff, but you said you might be able to help me out, Kory.
Yeah,
so
hit me up on Facebook.
I sent you the list.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll check it
So
out.
we'll see what happens. If I don't, I'll be playing Miracles with Anuurag.
Choo choo. That's cool.
That is
man.
exciting. Oh, I'll also be bringing vintage decks, so that should be fun too.
Vintage hype.
I don't
some
have
with me,
any,
too.
but I'll borrow yours.
They have like 4 or 5 of them proxied up, color proxies. They look
Ooh.
okay.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but proxies are not acceptable. That guy in chat told us so.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us. I'm probably going to put some music on here while I'm packing up, so if you guys want to stay tuned for some tunes. God, I cannot think straight at all. That was the worst pun I've ever said in my life. I'm just gonna sign us off now, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I will see you next time.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.